is suing his former friend, Nicholas Ennin, for illegally repossessing his car. Nicholas claims Joshua wasn't living up to his end of the deal.
All rise. That's case number 474 on the calendar in the matter of Thompson versus Ennin.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
Mr. Thompson, your complaint alleges that you purchased a used car from the defendant, who was a friend of yours. The purchase price of the car was $3,100. He gave you a $1,700 down payment.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And your arrangement was, according to you, sir, that you would pay him out the rest of the money quickly.
I
Didn't ask you anything.
Okay, sorry.
According to you, you made a couple of payments to him. Next month for $200, a month after that for another $200. Then you ran into some financial difficulty, and you were going to try to get all the money to him. And the following month, in the interim, the defendant repossessed the car, and you want your money back.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant says that you breached the agreement with him in two ways. First, you were supposed to pay him the balance, and you did not do that. You were supposed to get the title transferred into your name. You didn't do that. And as a result of that, he got a ticket, an expensive one, in the amount of $400 that you got while you were in possession of the car.
No,
and since
ma'am.
the car, since the car was still titled in his name, he is responsible for the ticket, which is another reason why he repossessed the car. So I would like to see the ticket.
I have it right here. Ticket for $76.
Now, you say, sir, in November you got a $400 unpaid parking ticket in the mail. I assume you have proof of that.
That was it. I mailed it. It was not $400. It was the price that he said. I'm not sure how it got written to be that.
Well, it got written to be that because that's what the answer was that you filed, and that's what you signed, $400.
I just was speaking about that, and it is what it is. It's $76 or $78.
Did you pay this ticket, Mr. Thompson?
Yes, ma'am. Receipts attached to that. I paid it as soon as Nick mailed it to me, the day I got it in the mail.
Okay. So that's no longer an excuse for you repossessing the car.
Sure.
Now, you purchased the car and gave him the $1,700 deposit when?
That was September 5th.
And how much did you pay him additionally for the car and when?
I sent him another check for $200 on October 16th, and then another check for $200, which he didn't cash, on November 16th. Total of $2,100 was paid.
But he
within
did
2
not
months.
cash the second check, you said.
He didn't cash the second check. He said he wasn't going to cash it. $200 isn't worth it.
The second check you received, is that correct?
Yes.
And you determined not to cash that check?
Yes.
And that was within 6 weeks of him purchasing the car?
Correct. When the date he said.
So far he has given you $1,900 for the car?
$2,100 total.
No, because he didn't cash the other check.
Right, he didn't cash it, but I gave it, I paid him.
So far you paid him $1,900 for the car. He didn't cash the second check, which was in November. You wanted your money faster.
Correct.
Good. When did you take back the car?
I took it back on December 5th, I believe, or December 6th.
Very good. And you want your $1,900 back that you paid for the car?
Yes, ma'am. I originally...
I'd like to see the checks that you... Listen, just give me the checks.
There's Xerox. You just want the originals here?
Yeah.
This is a withdrawal for the $1,700, and then...
Just a minute.
The checks are attached to the back.
Okay. So your lawsuit seeks the return of your $1,900 because you no longer have the car.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,900. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
You know, I don't like to lose friends, ever.
We just kind of came to a disagreement.
And I try not to hold grudges.
He threatened me, and I threatened him kind of back and forth.
Nick has been one of my best friends for a long time.
And we couldn't come to a conclusion with it, basically.
And I just hope we can get past it.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Getz versus Crawford, step forward.
Vicki Getz is suing her sister, Stacy Crawford, for an unpaid loan to repair her car.
Ms. Getz, the defendant is your sister.
Yes.
According to your complaint, you allege that you made loans to her.
Yes.
She was in some financial difficulty, and while she made several payments on those loans, she stopped. You want your money.
Yes.
Your sister says that they were not loans that you made to her, but when one of your parents passed away, your father,
Yes.
he left a life insurance policy for you as beneficiary.
Yes.
And nothing for her.
Yes.
So this was sort of a way for you to appease her by giving her this money. So it was a gift.
Yes.
Tell me first when your father passed away.
January 10th of this year.
And when did your sister come to you for money?
She called me at the end of February and said her car was repossessed. And on the 4th of March, she needed $860 to hold them off from auctioning her car right then and there. She needed cash and had to Western Union it.
Now, when did the family learn about these life insurance policies?
Shortly after my dad's death.
Is that when you found out that there was no policy for you?
Yes, it is.
So a month later, you called your sister for money.
Yes.
Had your sister ever loaned you money before?
Yes, she has.
And you paid her back?
Yes.
When?
I can't give you specific dates, but there has been
just give
times.
me a year.
I can't give you a specific year. I remember just maybe a couple times for gas or something like that.
I'm not talking about that kind of
Oh,
money.
large loans, no.
No. How old are you?
I'm 36.
And you?
42.
So in all the years, this was the only time that you wanted some substantial money.
Yes.
And why did you want the money?
I was having some hard times, and my car was repossessed. I was a couple of payments behind, and basically everyone in the family had known that I needed the money to get the car back, and she was the only one that had just received a large sum of money.
So tell me what the conversation was when you called her.
The conversation was basically I told her that my car was repossessed and I didn't have the money and I needed the money, and I had known that she had just gotten the insurance claim check, and I had asked her for the money because without a car I would probably lose my job.
And what did she say to you?
She said she would give me the money, and then it was 2 different times where I had picked up money from her.
When was the next time?
The first one, as she said, was March the 4th, and then the second one, I believe, was about a week later.
How much was that?
That was, I think,
much
about
was that?
$1,900.
$2,070.
And what was your arrangement with regard to repayment?
We had very specific agreement that she would pay me a minimum $100 each month. We didn't have a set date that the money was due, but I said no excuses, that you need to pay me each month $100. And she took it upon herself to decide that it would be at the very end of the month that she would pay me.
When was the first payment that she made?
The end of March.
She pay you by check or cash?
Money order for $100.
Your Honor, that was not paying back a loan. That was, she needed some money at the time, so I gave her the money.
How could she need money? She just got an inheritance.
She had already spent all of the money.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Vicki Getz says her sister Stacy Crawford owes for a loan to repair her car. Stacy claims Vicki gave her the money from an insurance settlement she received.
When was the second payment?
At the end of April, she hadn't given me the $100, and I was getting ready to go out of town, so I made a phone call to her, and she kind of was a little taken aback that I had to ask for my money. But then she did give me another money order for $100.
When was her next payment?
I hadn't heard anything, so I gave her a call and said, we're at the end of May. And she said, well, I'll pay you next month. I said, well, we had specific agreement that you'd pay me $100 each month. So you actually are avoiding our agreement. And she got an attitude and said, well, I won't pay you at all then. So I, in return, made some phone calls to her because I was very upset. And then in June, she sent her daughter to the door with a money order for $100 that said it was for May's payment.
Explain the payments.
Again, those were just times that she needed some money. She had blown through all of the money.
Miss Crawford, it's embarrassing for you to lie like that. It's embarrassing for you to lie like that. You want me to tell you why? Somebody whose car was repossessed because they fell behind in 2 or 3 months' worth of car payments doesn't all of a sudden have $100 extra to spend a month because her sister needs it. How much was your life insurance policy?
$24,000.
That's why you copped an attitude.
I never had an attitude with her.
Oh, sure you did. I mean,
She's
it's
the
quite
one who doesn't
understandable.
talk to
As it
anyone else
happens,
in the-
it's understandable. You know, when somebody loses a parent, they like to think that parents treat them all and love them all equally, and everybody gets the same amount of money. When that doesn't happen, it always creates a problem. Yes.
Your Honor, for 20 years, she has been manipulating and lying to my father.
That is
and
not
he has
true.
bailed her out for 20 years. through
Well, I know she's a liar.
bankruptcies, through car loans, through everything.
I know she's a liar. So I know that
wasn't bailed out.
So I know that there had to be a reason, because it's clear to me that she's a liar.
And that was his decision, and he
That is
passed
not
before
true,
this
Your Honor.
loan was incurred.
Well,
She gave me this money because she got the $25,000.
We have no
and I didn't get
relationship.
any.
just a second. No, madam.
Yes.
She gave you the money because your car was going to be repossessed. And
Right.
as you said to me, without a car, what was I going to do?
Right.
So she had the money. She loaned you the money. You agreed to pay her back $100 a month. You made back 3 payments. And then you said, why in the world am I doing this? She got all this money, and the least she could do was to give me a couple of $1,000s. She shouldn't be asking me for the money back. That's what you decided.
the only reason
That's
she's
what you
asking me back is
decided
'cause
in
she
your.
spent all of the money.
You think that you're going to out-talk me?
No.
You think you're going to out-talk me? They shut off your microphone. They don't shut off mine. Believe me. Judging for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,630. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
For 20 years, she's manipulated and lied to my father to get money.
No, that's not true. My dad had loaned me money in the past.
And he's always bailed her out, and now he's gone.
My sister has always been jealous because
She's like that. She's done it to everybody, especially my father.
she always thinks my parents treat me differently than her.
It'll never happen. We've never been close,
We probably won't have a relationship after this.
and I don't foresee anything in the future.
Money becomes in between a lot of people.
Yeah, I think he'd be disappointed.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Pepitone versus Whited, step forward.
Joseph Pepitone is suing his ex-girlfriend, Brandy Whited, for the cost of specialty rims and tires for a Chevy Malibu.
Mr. Pepitone, you and the defendant were in a relationship for a period of time. While you were in that relationship, the two of you purchased a car because you were living as a couple. So far, is that correct?
Correct.
Correct.
When you separated, it is your claim that you agreed to give the defendant that car with the understanding that she would pay for these special rims and tires that you would put on the car. That's what you're suing her for.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant says that there was never such an agreement to give you money for the rims and tires, and she has a counterclaim for credit card bills that you and the defendant, or just you, accumulated during the course of your relationship. And the plaintiff says that your mother has already sued him for the credit card bill.
No, Your Honor, that's a different issue that my mother is between him and my mother.
Her mother purchased the car and you drove it.
Yes, ma'am. My credit was not strong enough to get my sole self, so she got in her name, and I was making payments. I had insurance in my name as well. Then we had problems with the vehicle, having engine malfunctions. I had to have the head replaced on it, so I got the head fixed. Her mom said that the car was not running correctly. She said I could look for a different vehicle. I traded the Malibu in for another vehicle, for a Navigator I had purchased. The deal was like, bosh. It just took the car, put the negative equity for what the car was due. They didn't give me any money towards the Navigator. So then we got the Malibu back. Brandy not having a license.
That's a lot more information
Right.
than I needed.
Yes, ma'am.
A lot more. So you got the Malibu back. Now, that's the Malibu that you gave
With
to
her. Yes, ma'am.
And you were having financial difficulty, which is why you couldn't get a car at the beginning yourself?
Yes, at the time.
When did you put $1,500 rims and tires on the car?
That was for Christmas. It was a Christmas present for my wife, for my now wife.
And she was driving the car.
No, I was.
You were driving
Yes,
the car.
ma'am.
Your Honor?
Just a second. But you bought your wife new rims and tires for the car.
No, that was for the car for myself, the Malibu. My wife had her own car at the time.
What's this Christmas present that I'm missing?
The wheels for the Malibu were for me, for the car.
Who bought them?
I bought them. My wife and Brandy both had agreed they were going to make payments on the wheels.
So you bought yourself a Christmas present.
And around.
You bought yourself a stupid Christmas present.
Didn't look as stupid at the time, no, ma'am.
You earn a lot of money?
Yeah, I make quite a bit of money.
Good. How much do you make?
Right now, I'm working one job and make $16.50 an hour.
$16.50 an hour.
Yes, ma'am.
And how much did you spend on rims and tires?
$1,200. Well, it's $15.35 was for the price of the wheels.
I don't get it.
What?
At the time I was working 2 jobs, the time I purchased the wheels.
You're talking about Christmas 2007?
I believe it was 2006. Seven. Seven's correct. Sorry, Your Honor.
Do you know what year we're in now?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me see the bill for the tires and rims.
Picture of the wheels. His original contract.
rental period expires January 2008.
Maybe got the dates mixed up. I apologize.
I don't understand. You mean you rented them to buy?
It's a rent-to-own option on the wheels.
Now, what did her mother sue you for?
There's a bunch of different things. So
What?
She had co-signed for a navigator for me.
Co-signed for the navigator for you when you were together?
Yes, I was making all the payments.
So she co-signed?
Yes, ma'am.
And what happened?
There was we fell down when Brandon lost her job working with a prior place. We lapsed the one payment of the navigator. Her mom paid the one payment because Brandon was out of work. So I was just coming into money shortages. Her mom helped out, paid the one payment. So
what else did her mother sue you for?
She had something on there for a credit card that I have no idea about whatsoever. And then I believe she had something on there for a payday loan that she had made a payment on.
So it sounds to me as if her mother was very nice to you.
Yes, she was.
More than $1,500 worth for rims and wheels.
I have no idea. I don't understand your question with that.
Probably over the course of years, right?
Don't understand what you're saying, ma'am.
I do. When you purchased this car, were you living as a couple and joining your money?
Yes, ma'am.
The Malibu?
She took care of the money, yes, ma'am.
And what made you think you were entitled to take the Malibu when you separated?
I was making all the payments on it.
No, you weren't. You were living as a couple. You were both working together.
She had no license, ma'am. She said I can keep the car.
All right. She got the car. Now, did you pay back her mother any of the money that you owe her?
She garnished my check for 6 months, ma'am.
Great.
My mother treated Joseph like he was the son that he never had.
No, I got it. I got it.
But it was an issue that was between him and my mother. I stayed out because it was between him and my mother. My mother was nice to sign in for that navigator.
I don't care about the navigator. I'm talking about the credit card.
Only thing I have from the credit card is from the lawyer's office, the amount and everything that's owed on the card. And
whose name was the card?
Mine.
Only yours?
Only my name.
Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
I got the card to take care of some debt that me and Joseph had together.
When?
October 21st, 2008.
That's when you took out the credit card?
I took out the credit card.
And were you and Joseph living together at the time?
Yes, we were.
As a couple?
We were not as a couple anymore, but we were living together. I was living with him and his girlfriend at the time, which is now his wife.
All right, but you took out the credit card and you were no longer a couple?
No, ma'am.
No, I'm dismissing your counterclaim. She's got the car. You have a wife.
The car's been repoed. My aspect is money on the wheels.
Very good. But you don't get back. It's her car with the wheels. Her car with the wheels. You had the pleasure of driving it for a while, though, right?
I was making the payments on it, ma'am.
Great. Bye.
Parties are excused.
Seth Brody is suing his former friend, Angelo Speech, for the value of a vacation camper that was stolen while in Angelo's possession.
Order. All rise. Now, this is case number 396 on the calendar, the matter of Brody versus Speech.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Mr. Brody, you and the defendant were friends. It is your claim that he borrowed a camper that was yours. He had it on his property when it was stolen, and you believe he is responsible for it. Mr. Speech has a different version of the events. He says that he did, in fact, borrow the camper. He determined at some point that it was not the right size for him to take. He told you that. You decided to leave the camper on his work site anyway because there was some work that was going to be done on the camper. And it was during that time that the camper was stolen. That's your defense. So time becomes very important. What kind of camper was this before we get to the timeline?
It's a 28-foot travel camper.
You have a picture of it?
Yes.
I'd like to take a look at it. I'm not the camping type, but you might have guessed that. I'm an indoor plumbing girl. Very lovely. Now, I understand, Mr. Brody, that the camper needed some work.
Yes.
So tell me about the loan that you made to him.
Well, my father had passed away, left me a little bit of money. We bought the camper to go down to the Outer Banks.
Outer Banks of?
North Carolina. Angelo had called me and asked me if he could borrow the camper. I said no problem. There's a few things.
When did he call you?
Middle of December. There's a few things that needed to be checked on it.
When had you purchased it?
I had purchased it on August 18th, 06.
Had you used it?
Hadn't used it yet.
And where was it? Just sitting on your property?
Yes, in the backyard.
Go ahead.
Okay.
So it needed some work.
Needed a few things checked on it. I didn't know how long the camper had been sitting, so I wanted to make sure that the bearings were checked.
Well, you knew
on
it had been sitting for a while, so it needed to be overhauled before
Yes.
it was going to be used.
Yes, ma'am.
And you told him that.
Yes. He said no problem. He would have a mechanic look at it that works with them up at their construction site. They took the camper, and Angelo had called me on the 8th and said, did you come by and get the camper?
The 8th of what?
Of January.
Okay.
I said, no, I haven't. Why? He said, well, the camper's missing. We were going to take it this past weekend and decided that the camper was too large. We weren't going to take it. So after that, I called and made a police report, got the police report taken care of.
He said to you, we were going to take it last weekend. We didn't take it because it was too large. It was here, but now it's gone.
Yes.
And in between December 15th and January 8th, you had not heard from him.
I had talked to him after he picked up the camper and said that the camper was there.
And that was the only time.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Speech, now I'll hear you.
Basically, that is what happened. I arranged for the trailer to be picked up and worked on, and then it was too large. I wasn't used to pulling anything behind my truck, so I just left it there, and it got stolen over the weekend.
I thought you said, sir, that you called him and told him to get it because you weren't going to use it. That's what you wrote in your answer.
I did. I'm sorry, I didn't. I was just going along with what he said, which was the same thing.
No, it's
called
not
him
the same thing at all, Mr. Speech.
as what he just said.
Yeah, it's not the same thing at all. What you wrote in your answer is not the same thing at all that Mr. Brody said. What you said in your answer was after you got the trailer at your work site, you called him.
Said the trailer was there.
Once I saw the camper, I realized it was too large for our vacation plans. I called Seth and told him that I no longer wanted to borrow the camper. He said that was no problem, but that he was going to still have the camper worked on at my lot. I mean, you wrote this. You swore to it. Is this what happened?
That is what happened.
Oh, well, you didn't tell me that, sir. When did you call him and tell him that you weren't going to use it and he should come and get it? Take your hands out of your pockets.
Right before we left to go on our vacation.
Tell me about it, sir. We're making things up as we go along, Mr. Speech. Tell me about it.
What would you like to know?
I would like to know the truth, sir.
That's the truth.
Tell me the truth. Tell me.
I asked Mr. Brody if I could borrow the trailer.
Gotcha. He said
agreed.
yes. You came and picked up the trailer sometime in December, middle of the month. Keep going.
I called him, told him the trailer was there at the shop. It was being worked on. Then I called him back and said, we're going on our vacation. I'm not taking the trailer. When I got back from the vacation...
Just a second. I'm going on vacation. I'm not taking the trailer.
Correct.
When did you tell him that?
It was right before the 1st of January because we were going out of town for the 1st, for New Year's.
And what did he say?
He said, okay, call me when you get back.
Why didn't you return it to him?
It got stolen before I got a chance to.
No.
We didn't know if it even got worked on yet. I couldn't get in touch with the mechanic to find out if he did the work he was supposed to do.
It has nothing to do with him. Why didn't you just take it back?
Because I never drove the trailer. I wouldn't drive it out of town because I didn't want to hook it to my truck and drive it because it was
How
too
did
big.
it get from his house to your work site?
The mechanic.
Well, why didn't you get somebody else to do it?
We couldn't get in touch with the mechanic.
Who's we?
Well, I couldn't get in touch with the mechanic.
You took it from him. It's your responsibility to get it back to him if you're not going to use it.
Correct. And it was going to be returned to him, but it got stolen.
I understand that, but then who do you think is responsible for it during the period of time that you were too busy to return it?
I believe that's why we're here, for you to help figure out who's responsible.
Well, who do you think is responsible? It's one thing, Mr. Speech, if you say, as you swore to in your answer, that I told him I didn't want to borrow it, and he said no problem, but that he was still going to have the camper worked on in my lot.
Correct.
That would have meant that it was his responsibility, if that's what he said to you. If he said, leave it there, I want to have it worked on in your lot.
He said, is it fixed yet? I said, I do not know if it's fixed yet. I can't get in touch with the mechanic, and I'm going out of town.
And he said?
He said, well, let me know when you get back if it got fixed. When I got back, I called him and said, I just assumed it must have gotten fixed because the trailer wasn't there. I thought Mr. Brody picked it up.
Oh, is that what you said to him?
I called
Call me when
him.
you get back?
I hadn't talked to him before he left. He let me know that the trailer was there and then called me on the 8th of January to ask me if I had picked it up.
I believe you, because he's making up this story as he's going along. I agree with you that he's responsible. He picked it up. He didn't want it anymore. He should have returned it to you. How much did you pay for the trailer?
I paid $5,000.
Show me. You have a check?
No, I don't.
You have something from your bank. I don't necessarily believe this, sir.
I mean, I have the certificate title for it, and I have the police report.
Yeah?
I paid cash for the trailer. It was money that my father had left me right after he passed away.
Father didn't leave you cash. Your father left money. If he left money, he left it in form of an estate. Estate goes into a bank. Bank you write a check from. It's not clipping coupons.
I had brought him cash for the trailer. Angela had given me $500 already towards the loss of the trailer, so it was only $4,500.
What year trailer is this?
It's a 1997 Dutchman travel trailer.
You have a blue book on those? Let's check it. Can I see the title, please, by the way, as long as we're here?
I don't think they have RVs. I can look online.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Okay?
Be right back.
Thank you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Seth Brody says his former friend, Angelo Speech, owes for a vacation camper that was stolen while in his possession. Angelo claims the incident is Seth's fault.
After extensive research, and we need a new printer. That's one price. The minimum one we found was $6,500.
Good. You got a bargain, sir. You gave him $500?
I did.
For what?
Because he's a friend of mine, and I figured that would help cover the deductible.
What deductible?
I thought there was insurance on it, so I gave him
What
the
made
money.
you think there was insurance on it?
Because most people that have a vehicle have some sort of insurance on the vehicle.
Did you give him $500 in check or cash?
Cash. We deal with cash. It was cash.
You people do an awful lot of business with cash.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have insurance on it?
No, ma'am.
How come?
When I bought the trailer, I asked them if I needed to have insurance on it. They said, no, I didn't.
Who's they?
The DMV.
Tell me about what happened when Mr. Speech gave you the $500.
He met me, gave me the money.
What did he say? Well, he must have called you first.
Yes, called me. We met at a 7-Eleven.
Called you and said what?
He said, I have some money for you. I'm going to try to get you a little bit at a time. And I said, that's fine. So we met.
When was this?
This was sometime in June.
So nothing happened between the 6 months that it was stolen in June?
No, ma'am.
Had you tried to contact him?
Yes.
And what happened?
We had talked a few times, and he says, I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to give you a little bit at a time. And then he felt, after we had talked a few other times, he had felt that he shouldn't have to pay for the whole trailer because I didn't have insurance on it.
Is that what you said?
Yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $4,500. It's your responsibility, Mr. Speech, to get the trailer back to Mr. Brody. Do you understand?
I do.
That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I was trying to figure it out in my head who was right and who was wrong.
When you borrow something from somebody, you need to take full responsibility for it.
The whole time I just felt bad about the situation.
I think it worked out, the way it was meant to work out. I'm just so glad it's over.
It was tough on the friendship.
It's definitely put a strain on the friendship.
I hope in a few years we'll see each other again and laugh about this one day.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Gagnon versus Keller. Step forward, please.
Deborah Gagnon is suing her former friend, Richard Keller, for unfinished construction on her outdoor deck. Richard claims he was fired from the job.
Ms. Gagnon, according to your complaint, you've known this young man for a very long time. And he came to you and asked if you could loan him some money. I think it was $7,000.
Yes.
To start a business and to do some other things, whatever. And you said, fine. You entered into a bartering arrangement with him because I assume you are a contractor or
Yes, Your Honor.
build things, and you wanted a deck for your pool.
Yes.
So you agreed that in exchange for the $7,000, he would build you a deck for your pool. It is your claim that he did not finish the job, and it cost you another $2,300 to have somebody else finish the work?
$6,000. $2,300 for supplies, and then $2,300 for labor.
No, well, that's not what you said in your complaint, by the way. What you said in your complaint was he owes me $2,300 for my deck.
Right.
And $3,000 for the damage he did to my garage.
Right.
But I'm willing to settle for $5,000, which is the court maximum. You didn't say anything about any labor for anything else. You want me to show you what you signed?
No, I know, but this is a very involved case. There's a lot going on here.
There's not a lot going on.
That's what
There's
she
not
has
a lot
said
going
is not
on.
true.
That's what you wrote in your complaint.
Okay.
Okay, $2,300 for the deck and $3,000 for damage he did to the garage. The defendant says that you fired him from the job, was perfectly willing to finish the job. He did close to $20,000 worth of work for the $7,000 that you gave to him. He owes you nothing. I'd like to see photographs of the deck.
Well, I have unfinished deck here for you to look at.
I'd like to see what it looked like before he started, what it looked like when he left, and what it looked like after you finished.
Okay, there's all the photos right there.
Take out 3 photos for me. Sure.
Your Honor, that money that I borrowed off her was 3 months prior to this deck ever being arranged or the pool was installed. She loaned me money after I've already completed a roof job for her and remodeled her tattoo shop. And I had borrowed money for another lawsuit that I didn't get paid for.
Listen to me, Mr. Keller. Nowhere in your answer do you say anything about any of this other nonsense that you're talking to me about. Nowhere. You say that she fired you from the job.
I didn't make any comments about the firing. I was talking about how I owed her money and how it was arranged to pay her back. She bought the pool well after I borrowed the money. I was supposed to pay her back with the money that she was helping me get back from another lawsuit, and instead of making her wait that long, she bought a pool, and I said, well, I'll pay my own guys, my own payroll, and build you a deck. And it ended up being a 60 by 57 deck that cost me thousands.
So what?
Can I explain this to you, please? I loaned him...
I just want to see the deck.
Well, let me
explain. I want to see what the deck looked like before he started, when he left, and when it was finished. I have no idea what these unfinished pictures are.
Well, here's the deck unfinished, materials all wasted, cut off.
I just want to see what it looked like when he left.
I purchased the pool, okay? And then he said he would build me a deck.
Listen, I have limited time. I've asked you to show me 3 separate pictures.
Well, I don't have a picture of nothing there. I bought the pool, he built me, started building me the deck.
Fine, then show me what it looks like now finished.
Yes,
It's not hard.
There's 2.
Okay, so that's what it looks like finished. Very nice. Now I want you to show me 1 picture of what it looked like when he left. Would you show this to the defendant, please? Is that what the pool looked like when you left, the deck?
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now I'll take a look at it. Now I want to see a paid bill for the completion of the deck.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, $2,300. Looks like $2,300 worth of work. You got a bargain. Now, tell me why you're not responsible for the $2,300.
There was no reason to hire another contractor. Our agreement had no start and completion date. It was on my own free time. There were other matters that were involved of why she got mad at me. She told me to leave her property.
Why did she get mad at you, Mr. Keller?
For things not even related to construction. She wanted a relationship. She wanted other things. And she's married. I was married. And I just couldn't even be at her house anymore.
Shh. So you couldn't be at her house anymore? Is that what you... Put your hand down!
I never stopped going to her house.
No, that's it. So first you owe her $2,300 to finish the job, okay, because that was your agreement. Now, tell me about the damaged garage.
That night that he says he got thrown off the property, he called my cell phone, and of course my battery was going dead, and my phone completely shut off. He was at the strip club. And he called me drunk, wasted, and he wanted me to come down there. I'm like, no, I can't. I'm here trying to figure out finishing my deck. It's been 3 months, 3 weeks, a weekend, and 2 days. And he promised me he was going to finish it. And I've been waiting for 3 weeks for him to come back.
Would you please get finished with the deck?
He started screaming at me, calling me all kinds of names. He was very verbal. I had 2 friends there. I was so scared. I was shaking. I was so upset. He was just going nuts, crazy, just wacko. And then he got mad at me and calling me names, leaving my property, calling me very bad names.
I heard about the bad names. Could we get on to the garage?
Well, he spun out of my driveway. He spun out so bad, he took his van and he threw gravel all over my garage door, broke a brand new garage door, little bing holes. He broke out the window. And then during the time he was working on my deck, his employee backed into my garage and damaged the garage.
He owes you $2,300. Stop it. It's nonsense. It's not even what you wrote in here. You got $7,000 from her?
No.
You got $7,000
No,
in
Your
cash
Honor.
from
Yes,
her?
you did.
No, Your Honor.
You don't
that's
deny
not-
that you got $7,000 from her?
Yes, I do.
I
I
have
only got
receipts.
$4,600
I have
from her.
proof, all here.
It was
You
2
have a
months
check
prior
for
to
him
the
for
death.
$7,000?
I have proof, yes, I have it right here, that I gave him money to fix his van.
How much did you give him to fix his van?
I gave him so much money. It's just endless. I
much
gave
did-
him like $4,000 to fix his van. Then I gave him $1,672 for the CII investigation. And then I gave him $200 for his wife for a trailer.
You don't see each other anymore? You don't have anything to do with each other anymore? Absolutely perfect. You owe $2,300, which is what you spent to fix something that you were supposed to fix. That's all.
Parties are excused, Mr.
33-year-old medical clerk Tashawn Stubbs for breaking her living room window, slashing her tires, and writing graffiti on her garage door. Tashawn is countersuing for harassment.
Order. All rise. Yes, this is case number 101 on the calendar in the matter of Walker versus Stubbs. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
I see a whole bunch of ladies here, but no men. Where is he?
I tried to talk him into coming, but he was too embarrassed to be on TV with this matter. Yes.
They caused the trouble.
Mm-hmm. This is true.
And they just drop it and walk away. So, ladies, let's us have a little talk.
Yes.
You want me to
Miss-
leave?
No, you can stay, Bert. You're close enough. You were seeing the defendant's husband.
Right. Yes.
And you claimed at the time you started to see him, you didn't know he was married. You
Exactly.
found out he was married. Your claim is that even when you broke up with him, or he broke up with you, whatever it was, that his wife, the defendant, vandalized your property, caused you great stress, was harassing you. She says that it's actually you who were doing the stalking, the harassing, the interfering with her family. So I have a claim and a counterclaim, each in the same amount of money, $1,000. Right?
Right.
And somebody has a protective order. Who has a protective order?
I do.
I'd just like to take a look at that document, please. When did you start to see her husband?
Say 96, September of 96.
And how long did you see him?
For approximately a year.
And you haven't seen him since 1997?
Well, actually, I haven't seen him since like 99. Actually, I've seen him, but not as a relationship. I've seen him. For as him fixing my car, he has a shop. He's a mechanic.
But since 1999, you haven't had a romantic relationship with him?
No.
You telling me the truth?
Yes, I mean, I'm married and everything. I've gotten married and everything, so.
It's over.
Been over.
You have any information?
Yes.
They've been seeing each other since?
She was just trying to convince me that she was still dating him just last month.
How was that?
She was calling my cell phone, and I have my cell phone bill. When she was in the hospital and she was so sick, but she had enough time to call me continuously.
Did you call her for any reason?
Well, actually, she called me, and she came to my house and left a letter at my house on the 12th of April. This is how this whole thing started. She came to my house, left this letter right here, which is the same date that she broke the window, which is the pictures right here.
Just a second, just a second. Did you send this letter?
I
to her?
did.
Could we talk for a minute?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like grown-up gals. You have a husband?
Mm-hmm.
He's your problem.
Mm-hmm.
You want to have anything to do with her husband?
No.
You believe that?
Well, I believe it now.
Do you have children?
No, I don't. I have custody of my niece, though.
How old is she?
9 years old.
How long have you had custody of her?
About like the last 6 years. She's been with me for about 6 years.
And you have a husband?
Yes.
How long are you married?
Since August 26th of 2000.
Is he a nice man?
Very.
What kind of work does he do?
In the oil refinery, the oil field.
And do you work?
No, I don't.
So you stay home and take care of your niece?
Exactly.
Any reason you want to have grief with this lady?
Well, no, I don't have a problem with her.
How old are you?
32.
Any reason why you should want to have grief with this lady? Or grief in your life?
No, but what I'm saying is,
the answer
can I
is no.
explain myself?
The answer is no.
Okay.
Right? You don't want to have any grief in your life, right?
No, I don't.
You have children?
Yes, I do.
How long have you been married?
I've been married 6 years.
Does your husband work?
Yes, he does.
What kind of work does he do?
He's a mechanic.
You have to find someplace else, by the way, to have your car fixed. I know you haven't been back there in a while. Find someplace else. There are lots of mechanics.
No problem, you're right.
Because that just starts trouble. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You don't want to have any further dealings with her, do you?
Never did.
So why don't we come together, ladies, and come to terms with the fact that all of this trouble started because a guy was cheating on his wife, using 2 women at the same time. Because he didn't tell you he was married, right?
No, he didn't.
That's what you told me. And I'm sure he didn't tell you he was fooling around.
Can I say something?
Yes.
When he was cheating with her and she found out he was married, she thought she should help him to destroy his marriage, and she started calling my job to tell me what color underwear my husband has on as if I didn't wash them.
Just a minute. Let me tell you something. He was the user. Because if he conned her into thinking he was available, he allowed her emotions to run full circle. And all of a sudden, she finds out he's married. It's much easier to take things out on each other than it is to take things out on the person who's responsible, and that's the guy who was afraid to come to court today, right?
Right.
Why should you 2 ladies be dumb enough to suffer for what he did, which is really what you've been doing to each other? Both of you have been doing it to each other. Both of you. And that's ridiculous. He caused the trouble. You know, he makes a mess and he walks away, leaving 2 ladies to fight over him, and he's probably enjoying it, and he's probably not worth it. Very few of them are.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Natalie Walker says her ex-boyfriend's wife, Deshaun Stubbs, broke her living room window with a bottle of Snapple. Natalie also claims Deshaun slashed her tires and wrote defamatory statements on her garage door.
Yeah, what do you want? Tell me.
Yes, I would like to just say that's really not the problem, wanting him or nothing, or bothering her or nothing like this. My problem is this Easter I was in the hospital and she came up to the hospital 2 days in a row, you know, to confront me and fight me. We had a fight. I have to report everything at the hospital. This is the problem I'm having with her coming to where I am, you know what I'm saying, as a patient in a hospital and create problems for me.
I read that, and I read that you went to the hospital twice. She was in the hospital.
She was. And I did not assault her, and if I did, I would have been arrested.
Why did you go to the hospital?
She asked me to, and here's my phone bill to prove it. She was calling me, and she was so sick, but yet she wasn't too sick to call me on 439, 442, 518, 519.
Why, just a minute, why did you call her house?
No, her cell phone after she called me. I never called her house. No, I didn't.
Why did you call her cell phone?
Because she had previously called me, and I star 69'd her back. That's how I called her back.
What did you say when you got her on the phone?
I called her and I asked her, I said, why would you call me every year on my birthday like this to create a problem for me? I told you I wasn't messing with your husband. We were just arguing like that over the phone.
Tell me what else was said.
Then she hung up, and then she called me back, and she was like, well, I don't want to cuss. Well, like she said, like I told you, I'm going to make sure you don't mess with my husband, and this is what I'm going to do to you. I'm going to come. I know where you at. You know I can find where you are.
How many times did you call her on her cell phone that day?
Twice.
What'd you call the second time for?
Well, because she hung up. She hung up in my face while we were arguing after she said something.
So what'd you call her back for?
To make my point.
So what was your point that you made to her?
That I wasn't messing with her husband, and I'm very tired of her coming around every so often.
You told her that already?
That was the point I was steadily making.
So then she comes up to the hospital?
Yes.
And she came up to the hospital twice?
Yes,
2
2 days.
And the second time you had her arrested?
No.
Well, no, both, they just wrote it out. They didn't arrest her neither time. They escorted her out one night, and then the other night, it's all in this report. What
Fine.
happened. So if you would like to see
No. The second time she came up, she also says it was a mistake. It was the mistake to go to the hospital to see her the first time, right?
It was a mistake.
And it was a mistake to go to see her the second time.
It was a mistake. She baited me there.
I don't care whether she baited you there. Come on. It was a mistake.
It was a mistake.
You got how many children?
I have 3 stepkids and a child me and my husband have together, but we take care of all 4 kids.
So you have 4 children to take care of. You got better things to do than to go to the hospital to visit somebody that you can't stand. Look, as a result of that, there's an order of protection against you.
I filed one against her as well.
But I don't have it.
Well, that's because I just filed today.
Well, but you filed today. Listen to me.
She will get it.
has one
And she'll
against
get it.
you.
She'll get
Order
hers.
of protection. You have to stay 100 yards, 100 feet, 100 miles away from her. You're not supposed to go near her at all.
Which was violated yesterday.
I did not come within no 100 yards of you.
Yesterday, she brought two of her friends to my house. They were at my house when I got home. And I was going home to take these pictures to bring to you of my window, so I had a camera with me.
Let me see the window pictures.
And so what I did was, while they tried to run off while I was calling the police, I took a picture of them leaving down the alley because I had the camera. And I got an incident report number that they took yesterday.
That would not be a picture of me,
Can
Your
you give her
Honor.
that? Because this is the report
And that's not
number.
a picture of me. And I also have a picture
Because
of her
you was
window.
in the car, that's why.
Yeah, but I wasn't.
You have a picture of a broken window here. When was your window broken?
On the 12th of April. The same time she dropped the letter off.
Okay. Did you see her break the window?
Yes, I was there because I have a bars all around and I have a bar door. I can open my door without going out and see her and everything, the way my house is.
How did she break the window?
With a Snapple bottle, Snapple juice bottle. She threw it as she was leaving or whatever. She threw it into the window.
After she put the note in your mailbox?
Yeah, she came in the yard, put the note, banged on the door, of course. I yelled to her that I wasn't going to come out, be trying to fight with her. And she said what she had to say, cussed and did what she had to do, got in her car and pulled to the side because you see my gate right there next to the alley and just threw it. That's that side window by the alley right there.
You have a bill for the window?
Yes. Well, I have an estimate. Yes, I do.
I'd like to see an estimate for the window.
This for the window and the actual tires that she put on the flat.
You'll tell me about that in a minute.
Tell you about that?
In a minute.
Oh,
I want to see the estimate from... Right. Now tell me about the tires.
Okay, here's the picture, the estimate, and everything about that. Wow, this was like right after Valentine's, right?
What year?
This year. She came over once again, banging on the door, yelling, talking about come outside, what she would do to me. I tells her once again I'm not coming outside, so she takes a knife. This car was right here in front of the house, and just stabbed the tires.
You have a police report on that?
Well, actually, this right here, on the 12th, I just made a report. It's just an incident report. I don't have like this right here. This was from '99 when she ran into my garage.
I don't want to see that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. God. I also want you to see this, Judge Judy.
She is lying.
See what?
This is just a report from the hospital and from my niece who was actually there.
Let me see.
I want you to see
When
that.
I beat her up.
There you go.
What you got?
What kind of conversation did you have in the hospital? First time she came.
On Saturday, when she approached me, it was at the nurse station, she said, I want to know what my husband brought you for your birthday, if you got anything. And I'm like, what? How you going to come to the hospital and ask me about what your husband got me for my birthday? And so she started cussing. She said, because that's my husband, and I told you to stop messing with my husband, and we got to verbally arguing, and she swung and hit me. This is how my IV came out that particular day, because I had to have surgery to put another one in. And 2 nurses came, the security came. My niece was standing right there with me because I was walking her to the elevator to leave. That's why I was out of my room, period. And they just broke it up. They detained me, put me into the supervisor's room or something, and they just escorted her out. Then that morning
After that incident, I'll get to you in a minute.
Okay.
After that incident, did you call her again that night on her cell phone? Did you call her again?
No, I don't believe I called her that night after that.
You don't remember whether
No,
you
I
called her
honestly
that
don't
night?
think that I called her that night. No, I don't.
Okay, what time of the day did she leave the hospital?
That night, this happened about 9:30 at night.
At night?
Yeah.
Okay, do you have any phone record after 9 o'clock at night?
I
If
wasn't
she
there at
called you,
9.
What time were you there?
It was like 8 o'clock, 7 or 8. It was before
7,
visiting
8,
hours
9.
are
Did
over.
you have any
After
phone
visiting
record
hours.
after that she called you?
Actually, Your Honor, I turned my phone off and she just left me.
The answer is either yes or
Okay,
no.
no.
Okay.
I don't have it
Fine.
here.
Fine. Now, the next day she came back. Is that right?
About 10 o'clock Easter morning.
What happened when she came back at 10 o'clock in the morning?
I was at the nurse station, and she approached me and the nurse. The nurse was right there, and she verbally threatened me again. And
What did
said,
she
"When you
say?"
she said, I'm going to find you anywhere you at, and when you get out, I'm going to kick your still. And that's when the nurse immediately called security, so it wasn't no fight or nothing Sunday. Nothing happened. It was just verbal things, and
Okay,
they put her
stop.
out.
Stop. Between 8 o'clock Saturday evening and 10 o'clock Easter morning, do you have any record of the plaintiff making a telephone call to you?
Yes, I do.
What time?
She called me at 2:27 p.m. and she also called me...
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You didn't understand my question.
I didn't. Let me hear it once more.
Then I want you to pay attention.
Okay.
From 8 o'clock Saturday night until 10 a.m. Easter morning, do you have any record that the plaintiff called you?
Yes.
What time?
10:28 a.m.
No.
Oh.
Before 10 o'clock.
Oh, before. She called me at before 10 o'clock. Not before 10, no.
Then she didn't call you to come back to the hospital. You say in your answer that she called you to come back to the hospital, Miss Stubbs.
I'm just confused, Your Honor. She called me...
Stop being confused.
She called me on the 14th.
I'm already past the 14th. You left the hospital. You were escorted out of the hospital.
Well, then she called me all the next day.
I want you to pay careful attention to me, madam. You're escorted out of the hospital Saturday night. You come back to the hospital Easter morning. That's clear from the report.
Okay.
And what I asked you is, why did you come back?
Off.
Your phone was off,
yes.
So she did not call you.
She did. She left me messages. She left me messages all morning. She called me. Yes, she did.
Oh, well, I don't have those messages.
That's because my phone was off.
You have those messages written down?
No, I erased them.
Oh, well, that's too bad. Then I don't believe you.
Your Honor, her number's all on here. She called me.
You understand what I'm saying to you?
She did call me to come back.
No. And if she did and you went, you shouldn't have. All right, let's hear your counterclaim. 1, 2, 3, mental anguish.
Your Honor, I have my doctor's statements.
I don't read doctor's statements.
Okay, well, she used to call my job with her sexual harassment, you know, and I would have to leave my job at times. If she had a date with my husband, you know, being the other woman, she would call me, you know, and rub my nose in.
We're talking about 2 years ago.
No, we are talking about recent. She's trying to convince me, and she was trying to convince me when she was in the hospital that she was still seeing my husband. She was saying that he is doing all kind of sexual things to her, and that is what she was trying to convince me while she was in the hospital.
Let me tell you something, Miss Stubbs. When you write a letter to her that says, this time of year I usually have problems out of you by now, could this be that I'm finally rid of you? That you wrote to her on 4/12/01.
Yes.
Which suggests to me that for a long period of time, you had not heard from her. You hadn't heard from her for a long time. What'd you start up with her again for? Because you had no reason to start up with her. And then you write something else. I bet you didn't get any something for your birthday. This time, did you? So you were giving her a little bit of a dig that she didn't have your husband for her birthday this time. You're a troublemaker. Get over it. Your counterclaim's dismissed. I believe that she slashed your tires. I believe that she broke your window. And I believe she came to the hospital to harass you. You're suing her for $1,000, and I'm going to grant you judgment for $1,000. But I'm telling you this, I tried to start out this case very clearly by saying, ladies, if you allow a man to make a fool out of you, you're a bigger fool. And if you allow your husband to make a big fool out of you, then that's what you are, a big fool. Get over it. She doesn't want anything to do with him anymore. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000. That's all.
Thank you, ex-boyfriend, used car salesman Jimmy Dickinson, for loans and a cell phone. Jimmy is countersuing for commission money.
Now, this is case number 65 on the calendar in the matter of Dady versus Dickinson. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
Miss Dady, where did you meet Mr. Dickinson?
At a club.
When?
Around Thanksgiving time of 2000.
When did two of you start to date?
Shortly thereafter.
Did you ever live together?
Yes.
When?
That's a lie, Your Honor. She wanted me to live with her.
When?
He lived with me the first time he moved in. I had had a really bad truck accident, and I was in a cast, had 3 pins in my right wrist. So he moved in with me to help take care of me.
When?
In January of 2000.
No, that was 2001.
Excuse me, 2001, he's correct.
For about 3 weeks.
That's not living with you, that's staying with you to help you.
Correct.
Did you ever live together in an apartment that you shared where you paid joint rent?
We lived together, correct, but
I
I
was
was
never
always...
on the lease with her, Your Honor.
But Mr. Dickerson, listen to me, sir.
She's lying.
Mr. Dickerson, I'm going to say this one more time, sir. I ask questions, you answer questions. If you choose to talk to each other and shout at each other, then you can do that outside. Inside, I run a very orderly, organized place. You got it?
Got it.
Good. Got what question I asked? Remember, such a lecture. I forgot my question. I can always backtrack. Okay. 2001, in January of 2001, he stayed with you for 3 weeks. Did you ever share an apartment together, even if you paid the rent?
Excuse me, he didn't live with me for 3 weeks. It was approximately 3 to 4 months. It was about 3 weeks after we had met that he moved in.
Okay, so he was helping you out for 3 or 4 months.
Correct. And all of his belongings were there, I mean clothing-wise.
Okay, then he moved out.
I asked
3 or
him
4
to.
months, you asked him to move out.
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you ask him to move out?
Well, I came home from a business trip to find a cute little blonde sitting on my couch. Which...
Okay, so that was in 2001.
Yes, ma'am.
And he moved out, but that didn't end the relationship because according to your complaint, the first loan you made to him was in 2003.
No, ma'am. The first loan that I made to him was in April of 2001, which was when he had asked me to lend him $440.
Miss Dady, give me the dates of the loans that you claim Mr. Dickerson made.
Okay, the first one was to pay...
2001, $400. To pay for what?
$440 to pay probation fees so he wouldn't have to go to jail the next morning.
Okay. What's next?
Then we broke up, and then he called me again 2 years later. Said that he had been born again, he'd done his probation, he had gone to rehab. In 2004 is when I loaned him the $900. He was having to go to work about 30 miles from our residence, and he was driving my BMW, and I didn't want him driving it any longer, so he had said that he had this car that he needed to get fixed, so could I give him the $900 to get it fixed, which I agreed upon.
Okay, what's next?
Then about 3 weeks later, he had gone for an interview at a pretty prestigious dealership and supposedly supposed to be offered a general manager job, which was supposed to be paying him netting $10,000 to $12,000 a month. Well, he wanted to have nice clothes and he wanted to have a nice car. And besides that, he didn't go and pick the Volvo up. Well, about 2 weeks later...
What do you mean he didn't go pick the Volvo up? I don't understand what
because it wasn't fixed, but I was unaware of that. So
you gave him $900 to fix the car and he never went and got the car?
Correct. So I went to the place that he had left it at and actually talked to the owner. And the owner told me that he had in fact, called his sister and left several messages in Galveston.
But he never went to pick up the car.
Correct.
So he had your $900 and they had his old car.
Exactly.
Got it. So then he needed nice clothes.
He needed some nice clothes and then a nice car. So it was our agreement that he was going to pay for the clothes. I was going to give him $1,800 for a down payment on a Camry.
So did you do that?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
So you gave him $1,800?
Yes, I did.
When was that?
The $900 was on 129 and the $1,800 was on 210.
What's next?
Then on Valentine's Day, he had been kind of whining about needing a cell phone because he has to make all these business calls and everything.
Whatever. You got him a cell phone?
Yes, ma'am. Our agreement was that I pay for the phone as a gift to him, and then he's going to pay the deposit and then be responsible for the monthly bills.
Well, so you were buying him that as a gift?
Yes, ma'am, and I'm not suing for that. But the $125 deposit, which I had to pay that day in order to get the phone activated, I paid.
What else?
Then he just did not pay the cell phone bills. What had actually happened...
So just a minute. So they didn't pay the cell phone bills. They turned off the cell phone. And what happened? You lost your deposit?
No, actually what ended up happening is I had the phone activated on the 15th of February.
Had it turned off on the 17th.
I had it turned off on the 26th.
You turned it off. So what happened?
Yes, ma'am. He somehow called Sprint and had the phone turned back on because I understood he was making drug calls. And I know nothing about any of that. I've never even seen one, let alone done one.
I don't know what else you want with regard to the cell phone. Just tell me what you're suing for with regard to the cell phone.
The 2 monthly bills, the February and the March bill, that he's responsible for.
Well, why is it on your bill?
It's not. He has a separate billing.
So?
That indicates his phone. Our agreement was that he was going to be responsible for the monthly bills.
Just a second. He was going to be responsible, but you put it on your account.
Correct.
It's amazing to me. I can understand it when somebody is, 21 years old and stupid, but you're a grown woman.
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Mr. Dickerson, now I'll hear you, sir. She wants to hold all this money from you.
Okay, Your Honor, all this is she wanted me to stay there.
Listen to me. Just start with the probation fees.
She gave me the money for the probation fees. I went down and paid, came back. A couple of months later, I decided to move out on my own because I wasn't ready for that type of relationship, and she never did understand that. And she would always try to buy me and control me with that way. That's why she turned off the cell phone 3 days later after she got it.
Don't interrupt him.
That's why she turned off.
Let's get to the $900 she gave you to fix you a Volvo.
And I bought the Volvo.
You bought the Volvo?
Yes, I did.
Well, I understand that, but then it broke down, and you said you needed to have it fixed.
The car's still running. No. My cousin's still using it.
No. Don't interrupt.
I'm sorry.
But then she gave you another $1,800 for a Camry.
Now, think about this, Your Honor.
No. I'm just asking you.
Okay.
What was the $1,800 for?
Because she wanted me to look good.
Drugs.
Shh. Miss...
I'm sorry.
But I can...
Don't say you're sorry again, because I'm going to throw you out.
If I owed you all this money, why would you continue to loan me money if I owed it to you?
You're absolutely right, Mr. Dickerson. That's the only smart thing you just said to me. That's my question. Why would an intelligent, mature woman keep giving you money when starting in 2001 you never paid her a dime back, and she just kept giving you money and giving you money and giving you money? And I have to wonder whether there was ever a legitimate expectation that you were going to get any of this money back.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Do you think that she's bothering you?
Yes.
And later today...
They wouldn't let me do traffic school if you already did it in the last 18 months.
And you had done it in the last 18 months?
Yeah.
Because you had another speeding ticket?
No, because I had my accident.
Sounds to me like you're an accident looking to happen.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Janet Dady says ex-boyfriend Jimmy Dickerson owes for 2 car loans and a cell phone. Jimmy says Janet was trying to control him with money.
It would seem to me that a woman like you would know after 4 years that he's a taker. And any money that you give to him is like throwing money down the sewer. You're never going to get it back.
May I say something?
Sure.
Judge Judy, when we were only together, when he gave me the $440, then we broke up. I told him to leave because of his behavior and because he never ever went to work.
Miss Dady, you're telling me that he never worked. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
That he couldn't hold a job, a continuous job, probably because he had a drug problem?
Yes, ma'am.
You picked him!
2 years later, after he had convinced me that he had in fact changed, I thought I would give him a second chance.
You wanted to give him a second chance. So within the first month, he needs $900. Just think of what you did. You gave him $900 because the goodness of you say he's clean, he's sober, he's everything else, right? We're going to give him $900 so we can get his car out of the shop. And then you don't see the car. And then according to you, you went down to the shop and they said he never came to pick it up. So he's got you $900. What do? You give him another $1,800.
The only reason I gave him the additional $1,800, Your Honor, is because he had gone to an interview. He was supposedly supposed to be hired as the new used car manager, netting $10,000 to $12,000
and who told you that?
A month. Him.
I rest, if I were a lawyer, I would say I rest my case. Miss Dady, I hate it when women are taken advantage of. But I hate it worse when women act stupid and allow themselves to be taken advantage of. Now let me hear about your counterclaim in 30 seconds or less.
The reason I have so many jobs, Your Honor, because she would show up on my job at any time doing donuts in the parking lot, demanding to see me.
I don't want to hear you.
I don't know how she finds out where I work. I mean...
Let me tell you something, sir. You think that she's bothering you?
Yes.
You think you took advantage of her?
No.
When you take money from somebody, and you took money from her because, according to you, she wanted to keep you around, is that right?
Basically, yes.
Just a second. You think she wanted to keep you around because she legitimately cared for you?
Yes.
And you cared for her or not?
No.
So you took her money. You knew that you didn't care for her the same way. Does that make you a good person or a bad person?
A bad person, Your Honor.
Right! Well, that's another smart thing that you said, Mr. Dickerson.
This is the...
And let me tell you something else, Mr. Dickerson. Bad people, when they come into court, you don't come into court and cry, she's stalking me, she's harassing me. Well, maybe she just got fed up with you. She got fed up with being taken. Not nice. Did you file a police report,
No.
Mr. Dickerson?
No, ma'am.
So it evidently didn't bother you that much, sir, that she was coming and doing donuts with her car in the parking lot.
I didn't want to hurt her.
Oh, that's good. So why would you want to hurt her now?
I don't want to hurt her now.
Good. Your counterclaim's dismissed. Thank you very much. Smarten up, Miss Dady.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She's just sore because she gave me the money.
He's a user.
And she didn't get the return on it that she thought she would.
And he's a loser.
I didn't want to be with you.
I'm a survivor.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Kirkland versus Polson. Step forward, please.
Linda Kirkland is suing her daughter, 19-year-old Laura Polson, for the balance on a car. Laura says her mother agreed to make payments while she was going through a divorce.
Miss Kirkland, this is your daughter. What's your first name?
Laura.
Your complaint says that you purchased a car for her with the understanding that she would make the payments on the car.
Correct.
But then you stopped making payments on the car. The car was, in fact, totaled, and your mother is out in excess of $5,000. Yes. That we agree on. Is that right? So what I'd like you to do is tell me what your defense is.
Well, the only reason why I stopped making payments is because I fell into financial. I got divorced and had to move back home. She said I could move back home with her. So I moved back in with her, and she said that until I got a job and I got back stable on my feet, that I wouldn't have to pay her the monthly payments on the car, that it would be okay. She would help me out as my mom, you know, she would help me out.
Well, that was nice of her.
Right.
So you moved home, and you were how old?
19.
And what were you doing?
Well, I didn't get a job until my 19th birthday, and I moved home in September.
When did you get a job?
In October.
Well, that's a month.
Right.
Were you paying rent?
No.
So whatever money you were earning, you had for yourself.
Right. Well, I had accumulated a lot of bills while I was married, and he wasn't helping me pay them.
Like what?
Well, there was 3 credit card bills, our wedding rings we were still paying off, a watch that he had bought, and we had also a second car. And in November...
Who was driving the second car?
He kept it when I left him in September. He wouldn't release the car to me. It wasn't in my name, it was in his name and my mother's name. So the cops wouldn't release it to me.
Well, if they would release it to your mother.
Right. But she just said it would just be better if I took the Honda and he took the Expedition, and he would pay for that, and I would pay her for the Honda once I got more stable.
Well, now you're getting stable, so what happened?
Well, in October I got a job, and she said I still don't have to pay her. I could wait a couple more months until at least some of my bills were close to getting paid off.
What?
Well, I didn't actually let her not pay the car payment for a few months to let her get caught up on bills, but she had pretty much destroyed the car, and I let her not pay it so she could build up money for the deductibles for all of the damage that was done to the car.
What kind of damage did you do to the car?
She got assaulted before she got married. The guy came back and did more damage to the vehicle, so there were 2 claims there. And then Good Samaritan took a friend home from a party in the middle of the night and caused an accident. And so the car was pretty messed up. So I let her...
You left that all out?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're in December. What happens in December, Miss Paulson?
Well, in November, Jeremy had been being late on the other car payments, so my mom took it back from him and let me drive that, and I was making payments on that because we have a loan on that, so she said it'd be better to pay for that instead of getting it repossessed, and you just wait on the Honda a little bit more until you could afford both.
So how many payments did you make on Jeremy's car?
I think I paid on it November and December.
What do you mean you think?
I'm not real sure.
How many car payments did you make?
I think 1.
Where is that car now?
Her husband has it.
He caught up on the payments, or
He is caught up on the payments. She pretty much abandoned it on January 1st. We got into a big fight. She took off in the Honda. Well, she didn't take off in the Honda. The police let someone come and take her in the Honda because her license had been suspended.
What?
I had got a speeding ticket.
And?
And they just sent me a notice that said that I had to pay until, or else my license would get suspended. So I sent the money in, and it still got suspended.
So what did you do about it?
Well, I was going to do traffic school, but they wouldn't let me do traffic school if you already did it in the last 18 months.
And you had done it in the last 18 months?
Yeah.
Because you had another speeding ticket?
You know, because I had my accident. She had told you about.
Sounds to me like you're an accident looking to happen. So far, I haven't heard a legitimate reason why you don't owe your mother this money.
Well, she had told me that I could wait until I was financially back on my feet. And I was paying for the expedition, and I had went on a trip with my friends in December, and I guess she was mad because she didn't give me permission to go. So she was upset about it, and when I came back, I came back on January 1st, and when I woke up in the morning, there was steering wheel locks on both cars. So I walked to my friend's house, and they drove me over there, back to my mom's house, and I had brought in the police there to release the Honda to me because it's in my name.
There's no such word as brought in.
That's brought. Right.
Keep going.
And the cops came and they told her she had to release the Honda to me. And 2 days later, my friend was in it and he took off in it without my permission whatsoever. I had told him numerous times that he was not to even start my car.
And?
And he crashed it into a house and it was totaled.
Who do you live with now?
I live with my boyfriend.
Now we have a boyfriend. So you have a boyfriend and a husband. Is that right?
Well, I'm separated, legally separated. And I'm waiting.
You're separated in court? A court issued an order of separation?
No.
Well, then you're not legally separated.
Well, I'm separated, but I have to go through the divorce. I did all my paperwork.
Listen to me. You're living with your boyfriend. What does he do for a living?
He's a mechanic.
You had to look up at the sky to figure out what he did? What does he do for a living?
He's a mechanic.
And what do you do?
I'm a secretary.
So why haven't you started to pay your mother back for the car?
I just got my job on Monday. And
what were you doing before that?
I haven't been working.
Why not?
I lost my job in December, and I've been looking for work.
Get a job as a packer in a grocery store. What are you doing, sitting home, doing nothing?
Well, I've been looking for a job. No one's called me back.
I'm looking for a job. I'm looking for a job. What can I tell you? What do you still owe?
$6,165.52.
You understand that the limit court can order is $5,000 judgment. Is that right?
I understand that.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Is suing her former friend, 44-year-old teacher Rhea Randall, for keying her car after an argument.
Order. Come to order. All rise. Thank you. Now, this is case number 195 on the calendar in the matter of Hilson versus Randall. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Ms. Hilson, according to the complaints that I have read, you and the defendant were very good friends. And then you had an argument. And it is your claim that after the argument, she vandalized your car by keying and scratching your car. When did this argument take place?
It started Sunday early evening, around 6.
Sunday, what date?
I'm sorry, July 22nd.
What was the argument about?
The argument was about a little boy, Micah, who is here. The defendant's daughter called me and asked me if I would babysit her mother's ex-boyfriend's son.
Which is this little boy?
Yes. And it was no problem. I said yes. When I woke up, the little boy was at my house. No one said, okay, we're here, the little boy is here, we're leaving. I woke up, he was at my house.
You have children?
I have, yes, 2 sons.
How old are
Joshua,
they?
4 years old, and Malik, 11 years old.
Okay, let me hear, what was the argument about?
Okay, so he stayed at my house and spent the night. No one came to pick him up. No one called to say, we're back, you can bring him. The following day, I was giving them a bath, and Micah had all of these like scratches. It looked like flea bites. I just took it for granted that it was flea bites because the defendant had 11 cats, and it had an infestation of fleas in her home, and she was recently evicted for that.
So you assumed it was flea bites?
I assumed it was flea bites. So when he began to scratch, and the bumps came, and he scratched till one area started bleeding. So I sat him down. I said, wait a minute, this isn't flea bites. This is something else. So I sat him down. I said, Micah, do you have chicken pox? He says, yes. Did your mother know you had it? He said, yes. I said, did Rhea, who's the defendant, did she know? Did her and Kendra know you had it? He says, yes, they put ointment on me. When he said that, I couldn't believe it. First of all, I was shocked. I was afraid for my children. He had slept in the same bed with my 4-year-old. I called Kaiser Hospital to see what could I do. Could I bring them in? Is there anything they can give me? They said, no, just clean your house. Clean your house, wipe everything down. So I tried to call them to say, come and get him now. Why did you do this? I was really upset. I really don't remember everything that I said, but I was upset.
Did you contact the defendant? Did you make contact with her?
No, I kept getting the recording. So after, I guess, an hour or two, I finally got them on the phone, and they were very nonchalant.
Who's they?
I got Rhea on the phone.
The defendant?
The defendant on the phone.
Okay.
And they were very nonchalant. She was very nonchalant about it.
Tell me what you said to her and what she said to you.
I said, Rhea, why did you let this little boy come over to my house knowing he was infected with chicken pox? She said, well, I didn't know it was chicken pox. She said, Kendra did mention to me the other day, the day before he came to my house. She said, Kendra did bring it to my attention that he had chicken pox, but for some reason, I guess she didn't look into it or whatever. But this little boy is staying at her house in her care.
Okay.
So then I heard his mother's, the little boy's mother's voice in the background. She screamed out and said, it's not chicken pox, it's measles. You know, okay. So I'm livid. I am livid at that point. And I said, just come and get him now. So what I did is I gave him some clean clothes. I put all the clothes that he had on in a bag, tied them up. I isolated him from my children. I put them, you know, in the living room and had them in the bedroom. And I waited and waited and waited. And she knows that I have to be at work early in the morning. They did not come and get him until around 10:30 that night.
What time had you called them and spoken to her?
It was around 6. Around
6 in the evening?
Mm-hmm.
And they came about 10:30?
About 10:30.
Okay.
And my plan, because I had to pray, I said, okay, I am just going to give her the little boy, give her the bag with his clothes in it, and just shut my door. I have nothing else to say to her. So when she finally came, that's what I did. I walked, when she came, I had him at the door, had the bag in my hand. I handed her the bag and the little boy and said, good night, I have nothing else to say to you. She pushed her way into my house and started cursing, saying, wait, just the whatever. She was just cursing, and I wasn't listening. I just said, just get out of my house. So the phone rang. She said, well, just give me my MF jeans. Just give me my jeans. I said, you're not getting anything.
What jeans is she talking about?
She's talking about a pair of red, blue jeans and a pair of white jeans that she gave me to wear. So when the phone rang and I picked it up, and I said, you're not getting anything, but get out of my house. But when I turned my back, she ran over across my living room, and I bought my son a really nice stereo, my 11-year-old, for Christmas. A really nice stereo, boombox or whatever. She ran over, grabbed that, snatched it out of the wall, broke the antenna, and ran out the door with it. When she ran out the door, I ran behind her, and I said, give me my son's radio. And she was trying to get in the car with it, but I got it from her and took it back. I ran back in the house, and I said, you know what? Wait right here. Let me give you these jeans, and I will have nothing else to do with you. She started ranting and raving in my parking lot saying, I don't want the MF jeans. She didn't want them at that point. I just shut my door. When I shut my door, she left with Micah, took him home or whatever. The next thing I know, she comes back with her daughter, Kendra, and they're ranting and raving outside. I don't know what they were saying. You're this and you're that, all in front of my neighbors.
What time was this?
It was right after she left. She came about 10:30.
So it was sometime after 10:30.
Yeah, she came back.
Okay.
And I was just like, I'm going to bed. I am not going to deal with them. But before she got to my house, she called me from the cell phone saying, you're going to pay. And I'm going to make sure you pay. So you take that for what it's worth. I know how to make you pay.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Beverly Hilson says after an argument with former friend Rhea Randall, her car was vandalized.
Go ahead.
So I called her back. I said, don't call my house and threaten me anymore. Because have you forgotten? And she had forgotten. When she was evicted from her apartment, she asked me to please keep a lot of her coats and clothes, old stuff that she had in my son's. I didn't have any room for my own things. I said, have you forgotten that all of your clothes are over here and you're threatening me? I will throw all of this stuff out on the lawn right now and let people have their pick. And I did say that. I was very angry. You put my 4-year-old son's life in danger and you won't even acknowledge any of it. They were just nonchalant. She said, and she called me back and said, if your precious son does happen to get chickenpox or measles, then that means they were supposed to have it. She said that she was going to make me pay. The police came. When the police came, the police knocked on my door and asked me if I had anything that belonged to her. I gave the police her clothes. In the meantime, they're calling me on the phone, saying all kind of crazy things, or you're going to pay and this, that, and the other. No problem, okay? The next morning, I wake up, 6 o'clock in the morning. My child care provider came to pick my son up. And she said, Beverly, what's all this on your car? What's wrong with your car? I was like, nothing. She said, come out here. And I went outside, and, Your Honor, I have a statement. My total car, from front to back, every panel that's visible was scratched.
Let me see. You have pictures?
I don't have any pictures. I have the police report. I have a witness statement. The witness could not be here today, but they sent a statement.
Why can't the witness be here today?
They had prior commitments.
I can't accept that excuse, but I'm going to take a look at the police report.
Okay, here's the police report, including the witness statement, and also...
Don't give me the witness statement.
Okay.
Which one is the police report?
Is the witness statement contained in the police report?
Yes, it's in the police report.
Let me take a look at it. You called in the police report at about 8 o'clock in the morning, that next morning, I see. Is that right? Okay. The police report confirms the scratches all over the car, the entire car, and you have an estimate for the car.
I have an estimate.
Can I
also
see it, please?
A statement from the Earl Scheib. It's on the second page. And also, Your Honor, I would just like to let the court know that a couple of weeks ago, before this court date, she called my job. And she said to me that, I'm going to be honest with you, my intent was just to flatten your tires. So her intent was just to flatten my tires.
All right. Ms. Randall, let me hear your version of the events, please.
Okay, Your Honor, the version that I'd like to give you of the events is the truth. I raised my right hand. There was no Bible. I wish there had been. Maybe Beverly would have been more forthcoming had there been. Almost all of what she said was not true. The first statement that came out of her mouth was the defendant's ex-boyfriend. His father is a friend of mine who is a comedian, and I am his godmother, and he stays with me regularly. Fine. On the night in question, that Saturday night, his father was opening at a new venue in the Valley. So I asked Beverly, through my daughter, if she could keep Micah so that I could go there. Would she mind keeping Micah? She said, fine. I called her a couple of times on my cell phone because the show was going longer than it had been expected. And I called her about 11 o'clock, and I said, Beverly, it's late, I'm in the Valley. I said, but I'll be there. She said, that's okay, just leave him here. It's too late to pick him up.
Okay.
So I didn't pick him up. The following morning, I went to church. She didn't go. Yes, there was a question. My eviction has nothing to do with this case.
My question to you is, so far what she says is absolutely accurate. You or your daughter asked her to babysit for Micah, whether she told you the boy could stay because it was too late or not is really not relevant. The boy stayed until the next day,
right,
and she was giving the boys a bath. Now, my question to you is, she says that Micah had chickenpox either recently or at that moment, but he certainly had marks from the chickenpox, and she says that when she called you, you did indicate to her that you knew you knew or had been told at some point that he had chickenpox. Is that correct?
No.
Okay.
Your Honor, what happened was, it was after we came from church, so that was around 2 or 3 in the afternoon. She came to bring him home, and she said, look at these marks on him. And I said, they look like flea bites. And so she said, I said, just give him here. She says, no, that's okay. I'll take him with me because I'm going home and I'm going to fix this dinner and he'll have dinner and then you come pick him up.
So far, that was very nice of her.
Right.
So far, there's no problem.
So far, there's no problem. Right.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I get a call on my cell phone. At the time, I happened to be at Micah's mother's house getting my hair braided. And so she's ranting and raving on the phone about Micah having chicken pox. And I said, what are you talking about? Micah, you know that those are flea bites. She failed to mention the fact that she had a cat that she got from me. She had been complaining. The cat got killed because she allowed her son to throw it over the fence. Wait a minute.
Listen to me. Miss Randall.
No, Judge Judy, I'm trying to tell you that she has the fleas in her house.
Listen to me.
That's when she got raving mad.
Listen to me. Doesn't make sense. Because if she came to see you, as you said, after church, and wasn't concerned at all, something happened between after church at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and 6 o'clock at night when she called you. And what happened was that she had a conversation with Micah, and Micah told her that he had chicken pox. Now, he may have been wrong, but something happened. She did not become psychotic between 2 o'clock in the afternoon and 6 o'clock at night, Miss Randall, because she was doing you a favor. She said, bring him over. According to you, she said, don't even bother to come back now. It's too late. Stay, have a good time. I'll pick him up in the morning. Then you see her the next day after church, and still everything is fine. And you say, leave him here. And she said, no, I'll take him home and have dinner because I'm going to make dinner. So far, she's being a really good sport. Does that sound right to you?
Sounds right to me.
And then if I were to believe your version of the events, she took some kind of mind-altering drug between 2 and 6 o'clock in the afternoon and became psychotic. And I'm telling you, that doesn't fit with my common sense barometer. So Micah may have said to her, in response to a question, she may have said to him, do you have chicken pox? And he may have said yes. Maybe he didn't. He may not have told her the accurate story, but she legitimately felt at that point that you and your daughter placed her children at risk of infection with a child who was infected with chicken pox. As a parent, you can understand that if that's what she believed. So what I want to know is, what was all the hoopla about? If she spoke to her at 6 o'clock, how come you didn't get there until 10 o'clock at night?
First of all, Your Honor, his mother was braiding my hair. When she heard me on the phone speaking to Beverly and heard Micah's name, she asked me what's going on. I told her Beverly thought Micah had chicken pox. She said in the background, Micah already had chicken pox. He doesn't have chicken pox. Okay? And she also said Beverly later told me that her children had already had chicken pox, and so that wasn't the issue. Her issue was that I didn't come right away. I didn't come right away, Your Honor, because I wasn't concerned, because I knew that he didn't have chicken pox.
But you didn't come right away.
I didn't come right away because I wasn't at home.
All right, let's go a little bit further. There came a time when you came back to the house after you had gotten Micah. Micah was now out of her home, and the police were called. Did you contact the police?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Why did you contact
Your
the police?
Honor, when I picked Micah up, I got home, and I got a phone call. You better come get your MFSH. I've thrown it on the front lawn, and you better come before them come and get your stuff. So I immediately, I just jumped up. I went over to the house. I pull up.
Who did you go? Who did you go with?
I went with my daughter. My daughter came with me.
Okay, so you went over there with your daughter.
Yes. And so I pulled up, and she lives, there's a house.
Where's Micah?
He was at home with my father. Okay. I pull up into the, she has a long driveway. There's a house in front, and then her house is in the back. So I pull up into the driveway. There are no clothes on the lawn. I knocked on the door, and I said, Beverly, give me my stuff, please. Because at this point, she had gone so...
Okay, so she didn't give you your stuff. I wanted to, so the police, you left the house and called the police?
No, I didn't. I sat in the driveway because when I got to the door, she said, I'm not giving you, she said, you know, I'm not, and she slammed the door. So, and then she opened it again. And so I sat there and I
You went inside and got the radio at some point?
No, that was earlier. I didn't get the radio and bring it out of her house at all because she got it before I got out of her house.
Okay.
And I didn't break anything on it.
Just a second. Why did you grab the radio?
Because, Your Honor, Beverly is the kind of person...
No, I don't want to hear what kind of person she is. I want you to tell me why you grabbed the stereo out of her wall socket and started to walk out with it.
Because she owed me money. She told me when she came earlier that day, when she brought Micah, I'll give it to you when you come and pick Micah up. When I got to her house, she just pretty much nonchalantly said, look, I don't have your money. And I'm not giving it to you. Don't worry about whatever. You'll get it when you get it. I was upset at her, and I did pick the radio up. And I was going to walk out of the door with it and told her, well, I'll give you your radio back when you give me the $35. $35 for some jeans. And she snatched the radio back from me. And
okay, so now we got the radio. Now we got the radio. When did you call the police? When you were sitting outside?
Right. I was
sitting outside, the police arrive. Police arrive, and you get your clothes.
Yes.
All right. And then you left?
Yes.
With your daughter?
Yes.
Okay. So you had nothing to do with scratching up her whole car? All right. Opportunity, motive, and inclination. Those are the things that I have to deal with.
Okay, Your Honor.
Shh, I'm speaking. Clearly, you were very angry that day. And you were angry enough to call the police involving your best friend. You were angry enough to grab a radio from out of her house. And who else would have the opportunity, the inclination, and the motivation to do it but either you or your daughter, because you were angry. You were angry because she said, I'm not giving you back the $35, which is really something that she probably said out of anger because she was put out by the fact that she felt as if you and your daughter had placed her children in jeopardy, even if it was not a real threat, even if he did not have chickenpox. But clearly the child told her that he had. So based upon that, put your hand down. You don't seem to be losing yet, right? The estimate for repainting this car is $580, and I'm awarding that to the plaintiff. That's all.
Corey Malenfant are suing Tina's father, 37-year-old car technician Walter Brooks, for illegally repossessing Tina's car. Walter is countersuing for the down payment and repair costs.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 199 on the calendar in the matter of Malenfant versus Brooks. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Miss Malenfant, you are Miss Malenfant. Who are you?
Miss Malenfant. She's my mom.
Mother. Why don't you have a seat? How old are you?
17.
The defendant is your father.
Yes.
And according to your complaint, you needed a car, and your father agreed to help you out with getting a car. Mm-hmm. He put down the down payment on the car with the understanding that you would make the monthly payments and keep up with the insurance.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I assume from your complaint that you followed through with your end.
Yes, I did.
And there came a point when he took back the car.
Yes.
When did he take back the car?
He repossessed the car on June 23rd, 2001.
And you say he had no basis to repossess the car, and you want all the monthly payments that you paid to a bank, I assume.
It was, yes, Home Financial Services.
For the time that you had the car?
Yes.
And that was
$1,440.
So you had the car, did you have the car in October?
Yes.
October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June.
Yes.
You had the car really 9 months.
Yes.
Your father says you did not follow through with your responsibility. As a matter of fact, you owe him a substantial amount for the car. So, tell me what your arrangement was with your father.
On October 12th, we went in there. We both decided that I would agree to be responsible for the vehicle. He paid the $500 down payment. We also purchased insurance, and he paid $500 to the person who rebuilt the engine. While the car was in the shop, he did pay one car payment, and we both agree on that. He paid the $500 down payment and one car payment for...
Why did he make the car payment?
Because at the time, I was unaware that he even made the car payment.
Well, you didn't make the car payment.
No. I was trying to work, and he had let me use his vehicle while mine was in the shop. I have a daughter, and I didn't exactly have all the money to pay for it because...
So you didn't have the money, so he made the car payment in February?
Yes.
And what was the monthly payment?
It was $180 a month, but he only paid $170 that month.
Okay. Go ahead. On
May 1st, 2001, me and his wife had got into an argument. Words were exchanged. I said a couple of things, she said a couple of things, and then we started fighting. She headbutted me in the nose and broke my nose, and she hit me in the back of the neck with a picture frame.
I moved out because they were on drugs very badly and I couldn't take it anymore and I didn't want my daughter to be around it, and I myself did not want to be around it. Me and him were still on good terms. We talked daily, and then probably 2 weeks after that, on May 16th, I got a message from him on my cell phone. I didn't answer the phone, but I listened to the message and I didn't agree with the message at all. I have that recorded if you want to hear it.
I just want to know what the message said.
He said, if I leave her, what am I going to do about a woman? Are you going to help me out? Are you going to give me some?
That's not true, Your Honor.
I have the message if you want to hear it.
I don't have to listen to it. Go ahead.
I called the Department of Human Resources and spoke to someone named...
Where were you living at this time?
I was living with my mom. I guess he was mad because I called DHR on him about that and he took the car from me.
Okay. Had you paid May's payment for the car?
Yes.
Okay, you have proof that you made...
I have proof of all the payments, yes.
Okay, what about the insurance? Was that all part of the 180?
Uh-huh. And I also have a check, a copy of the check that Virgil wrote to the man who rebuilt the engine, stating that he did pay for that. I don't have all the receipts. I mean, I didn't expect for this to happen.
All the receipts for what?
For the car payments that I made. I have probably 4 of them, but I didn't keep them all. I didn't expect to be here in this situation right now.
So you only have proof of making 4 payments?
Virgil gave me that paper. He highlighted all the payments that I made, and he signed at the bottom of it.
Well, I see here there was 1 month when you made a payment of $90, and then you made a payment of $80.
That was, I would pay early sometimes because I would have the money at that time, and I decided to pay early sometimes.
No, you weren't paying early.
What day was that?
May 11th.
May 11th, I made a late payment, and they allowed me to make, they gave me 5 days of grace, I believe.
No. Instead of making a full car payment in May, you made a partial payment May 11th of $90.
Yes.
Then you made another payment on May 18th of $80.
Yes.
Okay, you say the payments are $180 a month, so 9 and 8 is 17, so that's $170. You were $10 short.
Okay.
Okay. Then you don't make any payment in June, the beginning of June at all. You make a payment June 22nd in the amount of $80.
Yes.
That's not responsible. Ms. Malafont, I'm going to tell you why you have no basis for a lawsuit against your father. You have no basis for a lawsuit because you had this car for 9 months.
Yes.
And you say you made $1,440 worth of payments. That means that you paid $160 on average a month.
Okay.
You had the full use of a car for $160 a month for a period of 9 months.
Yes, ma'am.
You understand?
Yes.
You can't rent a car for $160 a month.
I understand that the car was in, that I should be responsible for the months that I have paid for the car, but I don't think that he had a good reason for repossessing it from me.
Well, I'm going to let him tell me, but you did not keep up your end of the bargain. If he co-signed for this for you, and you are a minor, which means they can't go after you at all.
Yes.
You can't make a contract with a minor. That has to do with your lawsuit, too, so. You did not fulfill even your moral end of the obligation because you did not make these payments on time, as you're supposed to a finance company. They don't want to, at the end of the month, when your payment is due in the beginning of the month, get a partial payment. And you didn't do that once, you did it more than once.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
17-year-old Tina Malenfant says her father, Walter Brooks, illegally repossessed her car.
Did you receive a call from the company in June?
I received a call that they did not have any indication of her having any liability insurance. Now, she only had collision. That's what was financed, but the state law, as of July 2006, you had to have liability insurance. She never carried it. I always carried it. And she had an accident.
Had you discussed that with her?
I had discussed it with her before she moved out, that she needed to cover her insurance, that I wasn't going to cover it anymore. And she ignored it.
No, Your Honor, he didn't. He had canceled my insurance a long time before I moved out, and he never even notified me. And when the car, he had canceled it when the car was in the shop, actually. And when he told me about the car payment that he made when the car was in the shop, he said, and I'm not paying for your insurance anymore either. And I said, well, that's fine. I'll get my own insurance. And he said.
Did you ever do that?
I was going to, but
No, not going to. Did you ever do that?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So he did have a discussion with you and told you back in February, it's your car, it's your responsibility, get the insurance.
Yes.
And you didn't do it. And you didn't make the February payment, and you only made a partial payment in June. So he had every right to take the car back and say, listen, I can't risk my own financial situation, put my own financial situation at risk because she's not doing the right thing.
Yes.
So you had every right to take back your car. So you have no case. Now, you have a counterclaim, and your counterclaim is for the down payment that you put on the car, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to get through it. For the down payment that you put on the car, for the cost of repairing the engine, right?
Yes, ma'am.
For the payments that you made for her to bring the credit up to what it should be.
Correct.
You can't make a contract with a minor. Didn't anybody ever tell you that, even a minor who's your daughter?
Okay.
Who told you that?
Nobody.
But you know that.
Right.
And you didn't make this agreement with her mother
No.
on her behalf.
No.
Where's the car now?
It's just, I have it in my possession. It's at my house.
Are you using it?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't have insurance on it. I'm just using my truck.
Why don't you sell it?
I plan to. I just was waiting till this is over beforehand.
Fine, I suggest you sell it.
Okay.
Good. Counterclaim is dismissed. You used the car for 9 months?
Yes.
You had full service of the car for 9 months, with the exception of the time that you blew an engine on the car and it was in...
The engine was already, it wasn't...
October, November, December, January. You drove the car for 4 months before you had to bring it into the shop. Is that right?
The radiator was cracked in it when we got it back too.
You drove the car for 4
Yes,
months
yes.
before you had a problem. Now, on another note, do you speak to each other?
Me and her?
No, not her. Him.
No.
You don't speak to your father?
No. I have a, they were to issue a protective order against him if he contacted me anymore.
Well, that's too bad. How long had you lived with your father?
Almost a year.
And prior to that, you lived with your mother?
Yes.
Why did you move out of your mother's house?
There wasn't enough room. I have a daughter, like I said, and there
How
wasn't
old is your
enough,
daughter?
She's 1. There wasn't enough room for both of us to stay there, and it was very crowded.
Okay. I can't get into the basis of the protective order. It's really beyond this, so I can't make a judgment with regard to whether or not it's a good idea for you to speak to your father, not a good idea for you to speak to your father. Only the two of you know that. In any event, you had a good time with this car. You used it. I assume you used it for work, whatever. Next time you get financing for a car, it's not going to be through your dad. Are you 18?
No,
when are you
not
going to be
yet.
18?
I'll be 18 in March.
Okay. How are you getting around now?
My mom takes me.
That's
where I
good.
need to go.
Thank you. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I didn't get the money that I really do deserve.
I guess it's a lesson that we both learned.
They're both very sick people, and something needs to be done about them.
Don't go buy the used cars for your kids.
I just don't plan on talking to them anymore.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Vincent Miller versus Crowell. Step forward, please.
20-year-old student Amber Vincent and her boyfriend Josh Miller are suing 24-year-old computer technician Roger Crowell for breaking her windshield with a softball.
Who was driving the car that day?
I was, Your Honor.
And whose car is it?
Mine, Your Honor.
According to your complaint, you're driving your car. It's a 1995 BMW. Mind your own business, and all of a sudden you see a ball come towards the car, smashes your windshield. And it's your claim that the defendant, who was playing softball on that day, was at bat and responsible because he hit the ball that was responsible for your broken windshield.
Correct.
He says it wasn't him, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, once your windshield was smashed, tell me exactly what you did.
Well, first, I would like to point out, as I was on the decline of the hill that was parallel to Centennial Middle School, I actually noticed the ball players playing ball. And as I was driving, you know, I see, if my windshield wasn't there, I could have literally caught the ball with my hands. Shatters the windshield, bounces off. I don't know where it went. I pulled right in. And from that moment, the first person I saw was a woman in a van with a bunch of kids. She, in turn, was the coach's wife who was there and pointed out Mr. Kroll as the person who had hit in the ball. She said that she saw him hit the ball. She
Can't
heard
tell
it
me
hit
what she
something.
said. That's all hearsay.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's not true either, Your Honor.
Well,
Listen, we're not talking about an intentional act here, sir.
Okay.
Do you understand? We're not talking about an intentional act. You weren't aiming, or whoever hit the ball wasn't aiming for a car. You were aiming for a home run, or whoever hit the ball was aiming for a home run. So you get on the field where they were playing ball.
Well,
and you have, just a second, and you have a discussion with somebody in a car. And how long did this discussion take?
I was still discussing stuff with her in and out of conversation until after the police had arrived and departed the scene.
Now, when you arrived, did you see who was at the plate?
Yes.
Hitting who?
It was Mr. Kroll.
And you pulled into the parking lot. Did it take you a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes? How long did it take you to pull in?
30 seconds. I mean, it hit and the driveway was right there. I pulled in, parked the car. It was actually, I don't even remember if I left it. I think I left it even running when I got out of the car because I was just frantic.
You're telling me that when you pulled in, you saw the defendant at the plate?
Yes, he was holding the bat, standing at the plate.
That's
okay.
not true.
Shh. Don't say anything else until I ask you a question. Understood? Good. From where the person who was at bat is holding the bat and where your car was originally hit, is that in front of it? I mean, what I'm trying to figure out is, would have been a foul ball or would that have been a home run?
It was, I asked who had the home run swing.
Just a second. So that would have been a home run.
Correct.
Now, I am not really a sports aficionado. However, am I correct, Bird, that if one hits a home run, what one does immediately is drop the bat and start running around the bases? You do that immediately.
Yeah.
As soon as the ball takes off.
Yeah.
Right?
In
You see
anticipation.
it go, and you start running.
That's right.
You get where I'm going?
Yes.
Just a minute. Okay. You get where I'm going?
Mm-hmm.
So, took you 30 seconds to get in. According to you, when you got there, he's standing poised.
Correct.
To bat.
Not poised, standing there holding the bat, almost in anticipation of my arrival. It was during softball practice.
No.
It wasn't
Okay.
a game.
No. Now, Mr. Crowell, I have a couple of questions for you. Would you do me a favor while I'm getting it? Would you just get the estimate of the windshield?
Sure.
I'm sure she has that as on the paper. Tell me about this league that you play with, sir.
We played in a county softball league. It was co-ed.
So you are part of a team.
Yes, I was the coach.
Okay.
I arranged the team and everything.
Fine. And how long has this group been playing together?
We started practicing in April.
Same group of guys and gals?
Yes.
How many are on the team?
At the time, there was probably 15.
Are there dues?
Yes, there were.
And what are the dues?
Well, it was $20 for each player for the players' fees, and then the team registration fee came out to be, if you had 15 people, $20 per person, and our sponsor paid the sponsor fee, the team registration dues.
Okay. You get where I'm going? I'm not sure you get where I'm going, so I'll explain it to you.
Okay.
Because this is not really a very difficult case. I don't know whether you were at bat or whether you weren't at bat. It really is not relevant. You were the coach of the team, right? You put it together.
Yes.
Put the lead together. There is the question in my mind that the plaintiff's car was hit by a softball that somehow emanated from your team. Now, we have a totally innocent party, and that's this team over here. Totally innocent. They're driving along. And on the other side, we have some guys and gals who are playing softball, and certainly without intention, one of their members was responsible for a ball getting away. Who do you think should pay?
Well,
Take a deep breath before you answer that question, because we're talking here about responsibility. Not necessarily your individual responsibility,
right,
sir, but we're talking about baseball in a windshield, baseball on a baseball field.
I was willing to investigate the matter because we didn't know if the county would pay for it, since it was an organized practice and we're playing on their fields. So we wanted to look into that, and of course I was going to do that. There was also a gentleman that had been hitting before who had hit quite a few balls over the fence, and there was a couple...
From your league?
Yes.
Yeah.
None of them struck anything. None of them, they all bounced off the road, and this guy probably shouldn't have been hitting up there anyway because he's probably the best hitter on our team, but and being that the fence is so near the road.
Let's get on with it. Who do you think should pay for their broken windshield?
Not me.
Your team. Not necessarily you if you say you didn't hit a ball that far. And it's very possible that you didn't. And even the guy who was hitting before you, I'm certain didn't intend to cause any damage to anyone. But you got innocent people and you got the team responsible. So you take up a collection, you tell everybody, kick in 25 bucks, we're going to pay for the windshield. Period. End of discussion. Have an estimate here for $300.52. Judgment for the plaintiff. Get it from your team. That's all.
Matthias and her husband, 40-year-old aircraft mechanic Joseph Matthias, are suing 39-year-old roofing contractor Glenn Matheson. The Matthiases claim Glenn's workers tortured their dog during a job at their house.
Order. All rise. Shh. Now, this is case number 29 on the calendar in the matter of Matthias versus Matheson. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Mr. and Mrs. Matthias, you hired the defendant's firm to re-roof your home.
Yes, ma'am.
And you claim that in the process of working in your home, they tortured your dog.
That's correct.
They entered your home without your permission, or someone entered your home without your permission. Nothing was taken, but you were forced to put new locks on the doors and windows. And you want the defendant to return the price of all the roofing materials that you paid for the house and for your aggravation.
Correct.
Okay. The defendant said his people didn't do anything and he should be paid for his work. I assume you were paid for your work, is that right?
No, I haven't been paid at all.
You haven't been paid at all?
No.
Okay. We'll see. What was the total cost of the job?
Total cost of the job after the second invoice was $7,597.
Can I see it, please? Did you give him any deposit?
No, ma'am.
So you gave him nothing?
No.
Did this price include the materials?
Yes, ma'am.
It did?
Yes, it did.
So you have paid for neither materials nor the roof?
I've paid for the materials, yes.
Who did you pay for the materials?
His supplier.
How much did you pay for his materials?
$2,400.
And is the material money that you want back?
Yes.
Okay. When were you supposed to pay him the balance?
I told him that I'd pay the balance after a person of the court told me to do so on good conscience. I cannot, after what happened.
Okay. Now, you were not at home when this work was done.
I arrived home at 3 o'clock and 2/3 of the job was complete.
You have, I assume, a witness who saw what happened.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you the witness? I assume you're the witness. Step up, please. Tell me your name.
My name's Karen Dick.
Are you a neighbor?
Yes, I am.
How far away from the plaintiff's house is your house?
They live directly across the street.
Would you tell me what you saw on that day?
Yeah, typically I get up in the morning and I prepare dinner for the kids. So I got up and I noticed out the window that we have over the sink that the neighbors were having their roof done. I went on about my business, and then as I'm looking out the window, I was at the sink doing something. I noticed there was a sort of a large dog. It wasn't a big dog. It was tall, but it wasn't too big. I didn't really recognize it. I've only been in the home with my boyfriend about 8 months, so I hadn't really met the neighbors. I've only said hello to them. I noticed the dog was on Joe's front lawn, kind of in the middle of about 5 gentlemen who it seemed like they were just kind of scurrying the dog. I didn't know if maybe the dog got out. They were concerned this dog's, interfering with their work, if they were nervous. A few minutes later, I came back to the sink. I now noticed 2 of the workers have hammers in their hand, and they're swinging at the dog. The gates open, so I realized that the workers must have let the dog out. So at first I think maybe they're just trying to intimidate the dog.
What kind of gate was it? Was it a fenced yard?
It's a fenced yard, yes.
And you saw the
It was
door
open, yes.
Now, when you saw them swinging these hammers, none of the blows connected with the dog?
I did not see that, no.
Okay.
As I'm watching, though, the dog's showing no aggression, so that wasn't the issue. And the dog is kind of scurrying back, and it's sitting back on its back legs. So it was surrendering. They could have easily put it back. At this point, now they're playing a game. The hammers are getting closer to the heads. They're laughing. They're smiling. They're going to hit that dog. So I'm screaming hysterically at the top of my lungs, please stop. What are you doing? And they get my attention, so I'm standing there to make sure they understand I'm standing there watching this. At this point, the 2 men walk away, and the dog's still there. I go back into the home, and my boyfriend's mother, who's about 82, comes into the house, and I'm trying to explain to her, because her English isn't great, I'm trying to explain to her what's going on, and I'm looking out over her shoulder. At this point, I see one of the 2 gentlemen with a rope in his hand starting to do this, and I know what he's going to do. And I'm watching this, and before I can react, he's already got the dog by the 2 back legs. He's yanked the rope, and by yanking the rope so hard, he forced the dog to flip over on the back side. And from the left side of Joe's house,
all the way to the front side, to the far right side of Joe's house, through the street, not on the side, but through the street. He drugged the dog on the dog's back. By the
Okay,
I'm
take
sorry.
it.
Okay, I'm fine.
Was there any, when he did that to the dog, when he tied the dog's back legs, were they still right near the fenced-in yard?
No. Thank you. The gentleman that had the rope was standing in the street when he picked up the rope because he's walking down.
So the dog had moved?
The dog really hadn't really moved. The dog was still in the grass, from what I recall. He's still kind of on the grass. He hasn't really gone anywhere. The gentleman takes the rope and he's walking this way. So he had gone down, I don't know if it's truck, I couldn't see from my window, but he was coming back. And when he came into my view, that's when he had the rope in his hand, and that's where he took the rope to the dog's legs. As he dragged the dog through the street, that's when I ran back outside, and I wanted to make my presence completely known that I'm watching this and I'm seeing who's doing this. Because he's tugged the rope so tight, there was no way for the dog to break free for quite some time.
How did the dog
Just by wiggling and wiggling and wiggling. At this point, the dog was able to run up to the front porch, and as I'm walking, because I'm moving this way, to see what's going on, the dog, I could see him burrow into the corner on the porch to just be left alone. The gentleman who had the rope walks up and kind of goes down and starts going, trying to get the dog to be nice. And I'm thinking, if you've done all this to the dog, and you're not scared of the dog at this point, how could anyone evenly conceivably say that you were just intimidated by this dog, and that's why you did any of this to get the dog back in the backyard? There was no intimidation by this dog. So I'm just standing there. I'm not going to leave until I can see this dog put back in the backyard. Eventually, the man does sit there. He pets with the dog, and he picks the dog up, and he does eventually put the dog in the backyard, close the door. I go in the house, and I don't know what to do. Again, I don't know the neighbors that well. I'm thinking, should I call the police? I don't want to stir something up, call the police, and then have a problem with the neighbors. So I'm thinking it's better for me to advise them first. I have to go to work, so I call my boyfriend, tell him what's going on, to please make sure that they're aware of what happened, to let them know when I come home from work, I will fill him in on the details. After I'd done that, I noticed the truck was open and I saw the phone number, so I called the number to see if I could talk to the owner of the company to tell him to please come out, and I would speak to him personally. When I called, the gentleman said that I'd have to leave my phone number, someone would have to call me back, and I wasn't comfortable with that. So I figure it's better for me to let things be until I get home to bring this out. And then that evening, that's when I went over and spoke to the Mathiases and told them what I had seen.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Monica and Joseph Mathias claim employees of contractor Glenn Matheson tortured their dog. The Mathiases say the workers hogtied their pet.
You also claim, Mr. Mathias, that the house was open.
Yes, it was.
Do you have a witness to that?
I have a witness from our mail carrier that said that she delivered...
No, you don't have a witness. If you don't
no, you're correct. I do not have a witness. I have a letter from the mail carrier. Okay, the mail carrier stated to me...
You can't tell me what the mail carrier stated. Okay. You can't give me a letter. I have to see a witness testify. You see, testimony is powerful. I can make a determination as to credibility, etc. There's no question that there was no property taken from your house.
I don't believe there was, no.
Good. You weren't there that day?
No, I wasn't.
So you don't know what happened?
Correct. Just from what my foreman, Bernie, just told me.
Okay. What's Bernie's last name?
Ramirez.
Mr. Ramirez, would you step up, please? You were supervising these men that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you watching them at all times?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you see what happened with the dog?
Yes, I was there too. I was, when the dog came out,
When the dog came out of where?
From the yard.
How did the dog get out of the yard?
One of my workers go inside to collect the electric power, the extension cord, and the dog, he leave the door open, and then that's when the dog come out.
So one of your workers allowed the dog to get out?
Right.
Were you told, sir, that there would be a dog there?
Paperwork that I provide suggests that they keep the dog at a neighbor's house or inside the house.
That's not what I asked.
No, I didn't know there was a dog there.
Okay. Go ahead. So one of your workers let the dog out?
So the dog come out, and I start playing on the front of the yard. And I was talking to him by the phone, and so I saw the dog running,
Running in the front yard?
On the front yard, in and out. And then, so I'm scared because I said, well, maybe the dog is gonna go away. So I tell my workers. So two workers come out from the roof to try to put the dog inside, back in the yard. But I never saw nobody hit the dog, nobody touched the dog.
No, there was no testimony that anybody hit the dog with the hammer.
Yeah,
there was testimony that they were motioning to the dog with the hammer. Did you see the dog being tied up by the back legs?
No.
Well, that happened because there is no question in my mind that this lady is telling me the truth. Any question in your mind that the neighbor is telling me the truth, sir?
I have no idea.
Well, I know, if you have no idea, I'm going to tell you that this lady is telling me 100% truthfully that the dog was tied up by the legs and pulled in the street. And if your worker, Bernie, didn't see that, then he didn't see everything. There isn't a reason in the world that this neighbor, who doesn't know these people from a hole in the wall, would come to court and lie for her and pick up the phone and call your company to tell your company.
I've got records that she didn't call.
Oh.
I get a log of every call that comes into my office.
That somebody records.
Correct.
So nobody recorded. Just a second.
No, either name or number. They don't care. They'll record a message.
She wasn't leaving her name and number.
Correct. She left a message. I show no message.
That's your problem.
Well,
that's your problem.
It states that she didn't call me.
She called you.
She didn't.
Oh, yes, she did.
I don't have record of it. Every call that comes into my office.
No, listen to me,
gets
sir.
recorded.
Listen to me carefully. Don't get defensive. You weren't there. Fortunately, you weren't responsible for this. But I can think of no reason why this woman, who is new to the neighborhood, would be so upset about what she saw to go outside, get the number from your truck, come inside, place a call, speak to somebody who said to her, according to her, which I believe 100%, leave me your number, somebody will call you back. She said, I'm not leaving my number, thank you very much, and she hangs up, and nobody records it in your log.
She said that they took a message to get me out to the job site.
No, that's not what she said. That's what you wanted to hear.
That's what
What she said was she wanted somebody to come to the job site, but they said to her, give me your name and your telephone number, and I'll have someone call you back. And she did not want to do that.
But she requested to leave a message. That message would have been taken and recorded and sent to me.
Just to say, I heard what you said.
Correct.
You're not hearing what I'm saying?
I'm hearing.
I believe she called.
I don't believe she called.
Then that's your problem. Fortunately, I'm in charge. I don't know if Bernie is lying intentionally, or if he didn't see everything, or if he wasn't watching what was going on there. You think these people are trying to scam you out of a roof?
I believe they're trying quite a bit. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
No. I think that the men that you hired did not do the right thing that day, and they were very angry. Whether or not it translates into them suing you for $5,000, I don't know. But there's no question in my mind, after listening to Bernie and listening to the neighbor, that she is telling me the truth. Bernie, two things. He either did not see everything or he's lying. Because he did not put the dog back in the pen.
I've never known
He
Bernie
did
to
not
lie.
put the dog back in the pen, Bernie. She says somebody came to the front door, one of the men came to the front door and ultimately picked up the dog and put it back into the yard after they got finished doing the stupidity that they were doing to this dog.
I was told the dog was dragged back into the garage. I'm getting a lot of conflicting stories.
Not
from
to
this
me.
side. Of course not.
Not to me.
I have.
Not to me.
I've received a number of different stories. And the dog doesn't get taken to the vet till 2.5 days, 3 days later, after I tell him, no, I'm not going to settle for this. I'm not going to take your word or your neighbor's word. I'm not going to give you financial benefit for this. I said, what do you want? He says, I want money from you. I own your company. I want a free roof. I said, I'm not going to give you a free roof. Well, I'll sleep on it. He sleeps on it, comes back and says, I don't want to pay your labors. You know they're lying to you. You know anyone will lie in order to get paid. Well, to this day, they haven't been paid.
Two people attached to your company did the wrong thing that day with the dog.
It wasn't proven. You have
It's
one
proof.
witness.
Just a second.
You've got
It's
the
proven
vet who says there's nothing wrong with the
Just a
dog.
second. I didn't say that the dog was injured, sir. The dog was maltreated. The dog was
She could have
maltreated.
misconstrued what was going on in some parts, yes.
No, this lady didn't come out twice screaming because she was misconstruing what was going on.
She was concerned about how scared she was. call the police. The police could have been there and taken care of everything. Everything would have been solved right then and there.
It's a possibility. She could have done that. She
But
could have called the police.
So there was.
Give me a reason. Think of a reason.
Why she didn't call the police?
No, think of a reason why she would lie. I can think of a reason why Bernie would lie.
Why is that?
Because he was responsible. He was the foreman on the job. He was responsible ultimately for the performance of his men and what they did. I'm speaking. I'm speaking. He was responsible ultimately for the performance. And if he came to you and said to you, I did in fact see two of my guys who didn't know what they were doing, who were just sort of fooling around with the dog, and one did put a lasso around the legs, but meant to put it around the head to get it back into the house, or he didn't see everything, or he figured, say nothing. I can think of a reason for him to lie. I can't think of a reason for her to lie.
And I can't think of a reason for him to lie.
Well, I can. So, and that's the only thing that counts. So, you have to prove damages to me, sir. What were your damages? So far, you got a $7,500 roof for nothing.
Yes, ma'am. The hardware replacement for the door locks and everything.
Listen to me. I'm not entertaining your claim for any door locks.
Okay.
Because as far as I'm concerned, they didn't do anything with regard to going into your house.
Okay, I felt in good conscience I should pay the materials for the roof. I'm not going to pay him until an officer of the court tells me to pay him for the labor.
Well, that's not...
Or anything like that.
Yeah.
The pet clinic was $31.
Let me see the vet reports.
And all the material has not been paid.
I have the receipt for
Material
that,
from
Your Honor.
ALL has been paid, but not material from my yard. Not all material came from ALL.
Your countersuit is for $4,500 for defamation of character and lost wages. The defamation of character, I assume, has to do with these people saying things about your business.
Correct. Contacting the Better Business Bureau, threatening to contact the newspaper, and degrading my company.
They are entitled to do that.
Your Honor, he's also put a lien on my house, I believe.
I have every right to lien the house. I haven't been paid for the
You're
for a job.
absolutely right. Is this lawsuit supposed to determine that?
No.
So then why am I hearing your countersuit?
It's not for the lien on the house.
Well, what is it for?
It's for loss of wages for my men for the day, loss
what
of
day?
work, for today, for being here.
For today?
Correct.
Forget it. Your counterclaim's dismissed. I believe that they have a perfectly valid claim against you because I believe that the people who represent your company did the wrong thing that day. First, they negligently let the dog out of the yard. That, at least, we know from Bernie. And after that, Bernie told them to go and take care of it. Then one of them dragged the dog across the property, not even the property, not even the grass, but into the street,
With
in
no
the gravel.
damages to the dog.
What?
No injury to the dog. After all this horrendous treatment of the animal.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount requested, $5,000. You're pretty thick.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
जल्दी बचा ना मर गया जल्दी बचाओ वो दो ही बंदे हैं यहाँ मारो इनको जल्दी जल्दी मारने जाओ तो दो ही बंदे बचे हुए हैं इनकी पूरी स्क्वाड में से दो आप उधर बेंडिंग में रहो रोशन बेंडिंग में आएगा बचाने के लिए वो बेंडिंग में रहो बेंडिंग में रहो बेंडिंग में रहो हम भी बेंडिंग में आ रहे हैं हम भी बेंडिंग में आ रहे हैं इनको फिनिश कर देना अभी एक और आया अंदर एक और आया
ये भी एक गोली का है नाइस
किधर है
अंदर है मेरा मोको सभी बच जाओ
बाहर गए
400 का रिवाइव था ना मुझे
रिवाइव दे दो
वही आ गया
मैं रिवाइव देता हूं एक सेकंड ना इधर ये तुम आ गई
शिट
एक गोली नाइस नॉक गया बंदा ये
पूरा डायरेक्ट नहीं मारा ना इन्होंने बचा दिया क्या
बहुत बंदे दाई बाहर से आ रहे
बचा दिया था इसने उससे ये बंदे को तो मैंने पहले मारा था ना बचा दिया था इसलिए तो सोचो
अंदर भी बंदा है दाई अंदर भी है एक बंदा है अंदर
फुट आ गया
फुट तो आया
मेरे पास गया बचाने के लिए गया
बचा भी दिया
तो अंदर ज्यादा गोली का नहीं नाइस फुट आ रहा है और भी सबिन तुम्हारे पीछे मेरे पीछे इधर भाग रहा है
डाउन है
कौन मारा
इजी डाउन है
इजी भाई को मार
जल्दी करो
बचाओ इजी भाई मरने वाला सिचुएशन पे होंगे ना बताना यार पहले
एक और है राइट पे क्लॉक टावर के पास
इधर तो खत्म हो गया जैसा लग रहा है बट पूरी तरीके से मरे नहीं गाड़ी आ रहा है ओए ट्रेन पे चलते हैं ना ट्रेन पे चलो 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 इजी क्या कर रहा है इधर हमारे साथ आके?
राइट पे नहीं, मैं वही वाला गाड़ी वाला है। अच्छा गन नहीं है मेरे पास।
ऑम मिला दाई, ऑम चलाओगे क्या?
दाई इधर ऊपर पे बंदा है राइट पे।
ओए मेरे लेके चला गया। नाइस भाई, क्या मोमेंट पे लेके चला गया।
नीचे वो ड्रॉप से ऑम है दाई।
नीचे कौन ले गया?
वो ये ट्रेन के पास में
ले गया।
आप उतरे थे ना, हाँ वहाँ पे ऑम है।
अरे हम तो आसमान में आ गए, हम उधर थोड़ी है, हम वो ट्रेन के अंदर आ गए बोल रहा हूँ।
भाई ये नूबड़ा है, आप लूट सकते हो।
मर क्यों नहीं रहा है तो फिर ये
नूबड़ा है, सारे लूट सकते हो हम आगे जाके।
एक बात है,
हाँ एडब्ल्यू में इधर ले रहा हूँ।
ऑम है तो
ले लो आप ले लो।
कैसे लूट होता है?
अबे क्यों नहीं ले रहा? ले लिया।
उसे मेरे को एडब्ल्यूएम से गेम नहीं करना है यार, एडब्ल्यूएम में दे दूंगा सब नीचे आके। हाँ
नहीं मैं आप चलाओगे तो बोला था।
हाँ मैं चला लूंगा, चलो एडब्ल्यूएम किधर था? एक और
इधर जाना है, पिक
पे
वो वाला ड्रॉप पे है। हाँ समझ गया, इधर बंदे भी थे। आओ हाँ बंदा है, जस्ट सामने बंदा है, जस्ट सामने बंदा है। एक और ड्रॉप है ना आगे की तरफ,
पीछे भी बंदा है।
नॉक
कर दिया,
चलता है नहीं।
पीछे भी बंदा है, ठीक है, जहाँ पर हम नहीं उतरे थे।
समझ गया भाई। इजी भाई भागे ना हमारे साथ से, या इधर ही है
शायद? नहीं भागे बहुत
बंदा वो बचा रहा है उधर
बेंडिंग पे
मुंह पे आ गया।
फुटा है
भाई एक गोली
गया,
नॉक गया।
अभी और भी हो सकता है इधर। आओ तो अंदर।
अभी कूदेंगे ना दाई ऊपर से छत पे।
मेडिकेट लेना तो ले लो नॉर्मल। ट्रेन एक और आ रहा है क्या कहीं?
नीचे आता है शायद। अब बीमा शक्ति के साइड एक आता है।
बीमा शक्ति की साइड तो है,
चला गया।
हंगर के साइड है।
अब ये इन्फिनिटी रिवाइव वाला है, एक बार मर जाएंगे तो अपने आप बच जाएंगे, लूट भी नहीं जाएगा।
जाए
एक बार बच जाएंगे।
पहुंच नहीं पाएंगे, दोनों में पहुंच नहीं पाएंगे हम लोग। ये बॉफ आया है इधर खाने के लिए। क्या
4 तक होता है ये।
ट्रेन में जाने पे ही ये होता है ना, मिलता है ना। और उस टाइम पे
नहीं ये ट्रेन के आसपास स्पॉन होता है।
नीचे बंदा है।
स्टेशन के आसपास स्पॉन होता है।
वो एलसी पे पड़ा हुआ है।
हेडशॉट खाया ले। एक और
कहां पर है भाई?
वो घर के अंदर गई।
घर के अंदर है क्या?
नहीं मेरे पास तो नहीं है।
मर गई क्या?
गई थोड़ा सा रिकॉइल हो गया। बचाने गई थी ना एंडिंग पे।
तूने तो एक बात बता दूं मैं आपको।
बताओ।
हाथ काम रहे, 6 साल बाद खेल रहा हूँ आपके साथ।
अरे बढ़िया कर रहे हो यार आप। मतलब बात करके ऐसे मस्त खेल रहे हो ना। मेरे को बात करके कोऑर्डिनेशन करके खेलने वाला बंदा बहुत पसंद है।
थोड़ा सा पिंग आई हो जाता है, मैं कनाडा पे खेलता हूँ ना इसलिए।
कनाडा पे क्या?
हाँ जी
सही है। कनाडा में कितना पिंग चलता है कनाडा में यार? कनाडा वाले हो, कनाडा वाले
250
यहाँ पे 250 हो गया था। मानो कि 999 प्लस चल रहा है ऐसा
नहीं ये 250 है।
बंदे
4 बजे आएगा ये बंडल।
हाँ यार स्कैम कर दिया। रात के 12 बजे मैं वेट करके बैठा। आया नहीं, मैं फिर बाद में सो गया। लगा तो था 4 बजे आएगा करके।
12 बजे आया था लेकिन ग्लिच हो गया।
हाँ वही तो बुया पास में निकाल जा रहा था भाई। क्या ही भाई मेरे साथ रहना ना, मेरे साथ बंदा।
हाँ जी आगे हम आगे।
वो इन्फिनिटी ड्रॉप पे गया बंदा, मार दिया था। लॉन्च पैड लगा के जा सकता है।
एक और आया राइट पे। तूने आपके सीधे एक है।
इसके स्नाइपर है।
नाइस।
घर के ऊपर है राइट, घर के ऊपर है।
एक और है राइट पे भी एक और है।
एक दूर में भी है।
घर के ऊपर
दूर वाला डैमेज है।
घर के ऊपर वाला नॉक है।
वॉल पे भी डैमेज है। एक फेंस पे आ गया इधर ही ड्रॉप के पास। भाई एक ड्रॉप के पीछे भी, ठीक है।
अबे मार दिया मेरे को एडब्ल्यूएम।
आयरिश लगा दिया। भागो आयरिश।
बच जाओगे निकल जाओ।
आयरिश
वो क्या आ गया?
अच्छा ही हुआ मर के भी। हाँ उधर ही आऊं। सिरिंग से मार रहा था यार बंदा एडब्ल्यूएम यार, बुरा लगा। क्लॉक टावर जा रहा हूँ, ठीक है क्लॉक टावर आ जाना।
हम भी क्लॉक टावर आ जाएंगे। वो जोन पे तो आएगा शायद, 2 बंदे हैं ना उधर।
वैसे भी मेरे को एडब्ल्यूएम ज्यादा देर तक चलाना नहीं था, अच्छा ही हुआ होने के लिए तो। उसने अच्छा खासा कवर दिया यार अपने बंदे को यार।
आयरिश का फायदा उठा दिया।
वो आएगा पता है?
हाँ जी
आएगा तो इधर ही।
गेट कीप करते हैं ना, मारते हैं इनको।
ओके
टोकन बहुत सारे। अरे किसी ने वो
लैंडमाइन था।
हाँ लड़ रहे हैं, आ जाओ।
जाना है?
फील कर रहा हूँ थोड़ा।
जिधर राइट साइड में वॉल है ना उधर।
गाड़ी पे आए। उतना दूर नहीं जाएगा, उतना दूर। गाड़ी का उतर गया है।
मार रहा है एडब्ल्यूएम।
मार रहा है कहीं पे। इधर से तो पिक ही नहीं मिल रहा है मुझे।
भाई बच गया। बचाओ।
डैमेज है वो वाला, बहुत डैमेज है।
क्या बच गया भाई? कहाँ
गाड़ी पे एक और बंदा।
कहाँ रिटर्न मारो, कहाँ का कनेक्ट कर दे रहा है भाई बंदा? वो
डैमेज है, वो वॉल वाला डैमेज है।
ट्रीटमेंट चार्ज पे। ये देखो क्या फेंक रहा है ये लोग।
वो एक और मुंह पे आ गया। एक तो एक मुंह पे ही है, ठीक है।
नॉक है
एक और नॉक।
ओह नाइस, बढ़िया।
एडब्ल्यूएम वाला किधर है?
एडब्ल्यूएम वाला दाई शायद जोन पे घुस गया है। वो जोन पे घुस गया होगा।
मतलब जोन पे चला गया ऐसा बोल रहे हो?
हाँ जोन पे चला गया।
रोशन को बचाते समझ में आ जाओ।
आ रहा हूँ दाई।
अरे हम बचाने जा रहे थे।
सामने से आया दाई।
मारा ना?
ना क्या तुम्हें?
ग्रोज आया शायद यहाँ पे।
ले रहा हूँ मैं।
गाड़ी आ गया अपने
बचाने के लिए।
अपने
है ना?
अपने
बंदे बच भी रहे।
एक बंदा जैसा लगता है दूर से देखने।
यानी कि फैक्ट्री की साइड बंदे हो सकते हैं।
हाँ
उधर से आएंगे।
उठाया था।
किधर है? ऊपर तो नहीं है।
नीचे था। ऊपर आ गया था।
ऊपर से फिर नीचे आ गया मैं।
जंप कर दिया शायद। जंप कर दिया है। एक 2 गोली का होगा।
कहाँ?
ऊपर गया। ऊपर नॉक हो गया।
मर गया। सामने से आ रहा है।
राइट पे बंदा था जहाँ से फायर हो रहा है।
वाला है
पीछे से भी मारेगा। भाई एक गोली खाया, बहुत डैमेज है। मर गया। ऊपर से मार दिया।
एक गोली का है। वो वॉल तोड़ो, सामने वाला वॉल तोड़ो, मर जाएगा।
भाई एमो नहीं है, थोड़ा सा एमो लूट रहा हूँ। अरे यार इसके पास तो मैं
नॉक है।
क्रॉस मार दूं?
अब एक ही बचा हुआ है।
खत्म है, एक ही बचा है।
जोन पुशर होगा।
हाँ
जोन पुशर रहेगा तो बचाना रहेगा तो उसको बचाने देना, ठीक है? मारना
फुटा गया इधर। इजी के पास फुटा गया, मर गया। बढ़िया।
ओपी बूया दोस्तों, गोल्डन क्रिमिनल के साथ ऐसी बात है। एक लाइक कर, चैनल पे नए हो तो सब्सक्राइब कर लेना दोस्तों। वो या बोलते। अरे बाप, डेली फसल भी प्लस भी मिल गया है 55।